says, "Oh my God, Jay, what is this? What is this trash on the stream? It has all gone horribly wrong." Just setting up the lobby here, boys. I've got we're missing one from Ericsson and four from EA, so just give us a
So it's
second.
EA
Yeah,
on blue side.
yeah. So we're going to be hanging on a little bit here.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to this, though. I mean, EA versus Ericsson, and it's just a show match, so it should just be for a bit of fun, you know?
absolutely. Um, I suppose I
And,
should give some sort of
yes,
an introduction here. This is the Irish Interfirms Gaming League. What do we do? We get companies in Ireland to put teams together and play against each other for the absolute crack, and hopefully to raise a bit of money for charity as well. So we have a donate button on the stream tonight for the first time. If you hit that, any money raised will be going straight to Enable Ireland tonight.
Is it me or you're lagging, Jay, a little bit?
yeah, he's lagging a little bit.
Yeah.
Just on Discord or
Yeah.
Yeah, on Discord.
hmm,
I think it's just the mic cutting out more than anything.
Yeah.
But
okay, I'll.
But, yeah, it should be loading up here very shortly. I'm looking forward to this anyway, because I think looking at this, some of these guys look like they're pros, other guys look like they're kind of new to the game as well. So I
they're
think it'll be a
pros
nice
on
mix of
their
people.
individual champion. You know, they have
Exactly.
their
I thought you didn't even say champions. It was champion. That was
Well-
it. There was no more.
you know what, a champion pool of one is still a champion pool. You know, you can't, you don't want to be playing them too hard. But yeah, I mean, obviously this is a show match, so hopefully we see those picks come out.
Yeah.
Those are always fun to see when, especially in the fun matches. You know, people on their best champions, and they can really show off their stuff as well as having a bit of crack. So
Yeah, exactly. And just while Jay's trying to get his stuff sorted there, we might as well do a quick run down the line. My name is going to be Rob. I work under the name Go Suit Dreams. Whimsy is the other beautiful voice that you heard respond to me there just a second ago. We
Oh,
got
thanks.
Sergey as well, who's going to be down the end. If you want to say hi, Sergey.
Hello, hello.
And we got Jay as well, who's a man who introduced the stream. And we will be the four guys who are going to be taking you through this EA versus Ericsson game. And I think overall, as we were saying, should be a bit of fun. I can see the guys are all loaded up into the lobby as well, getting the hellos, the good days in the chat, which is always nice to see. And we should be starting up fairly shortly, I'm hoping.
yeah, very amicable
Yeah, we're just we're just waiting on one dude. Oh, Colin apparently is having some issues.
Yeah,
And
I, like
match
this chat is way more
here
wholesome
we
than
go.
I usually see in a League of Legends chat room. So
Yeah.
I'm really digging this at the moment.
I think there does tend to be the trend that the higher you go up in ELO, the more flame there is, whether it be lighthearted or not. People will be willing to trash talk more. But yeah, I mean, it's all fun and games now until they get onto the rift, and then things might flare up a little bit. But
Okay, we have a full lobby now, so I guess just to let people know what we're going to do tonight, I think is we're just going to do 2 games maximum. It's normal tournament rules, or at least that's what I've picked in this lobby, so I presume that's what we want. If it goes 1-1, we will just have to say to be continued, and look forward to the tiebreaker on that.
hit them with the cliffhanger ending. That's,
Exactly, yeah.
but everyone
The-
make them
the
non
rift
tune in
as
next
well.
week.
And nobody should be surprised if it ends up on a cliffhanger, you know, and definitely it's not been planned that way beforehand or anything like that. You know, if it happens, it happens.
It's
Okay,
all right. We have everyone in the lobby now, so it
I think
looks.
we're ready to rock and roll, yeah.
Yeah, we just might. The team's getting themselves 100% ready
Oh,
to
actually, we
start
can't.
this one.
Yeah, sorry. Whoops, I'm sorry, I'm talking to myself. I was going to say we got. I realized we can't. We got a full lobby.
Rob loves the sound of his own voice so much
Yeah.
that no filter. But yeah, hopefully we're good to go in just a second or two.
Someone's gone for a last minute
Yeah.
trip to the loo, I think. Just last second nervous, just run.
Wow.
I don't know. Someone oh, no, we've lost.
Realizing they're on the stream and it's the kind of just all just comes to them just before pick plan starts. Need a couple of minutes. Oh, now they're all leaving. That's.
They're all
Yeah,
even.
I think we sounded like half
I think-
I'm
I
so
think-
sorry.
I think they're trying to get in order.
Yeah.
But all the spectate spots are filled up, so
Ice biscuits!
should just be another couple.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Taking it very seriously. Okay. So you boys actually, I think I'm the only one here currently who doesn't play. Rob, do you play this game?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I cast it pretty much full time. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you play it though?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I suppose
So-
you kind of have to, don't you?
Yeah, see,
If you wanna know
that's the
what you're
thing is
talking
that
about.
like you kind of need to find out how things work because it's all well and good when you got someone say explaining in a video how everything slots together and it's all nice and dandy, but you don't really understand how bad it is to get your just trashed by someone by a certain champion until you're actually playing the game. So it definitely helps out being able to see that like there's certain champions at the moment that are just so strong. So getting to understand exactly what makes them strong and how to play against them just gives it a little bit more work for you to be able to talk about during the games and that.
And Andy's just given us Andy's given us some arse biscuits. Thank you, Andy. Nice one.
Yeah, I mean, it's questionable whether what you would call me doing playing the game, as I'm not particularly good, but I do my best sometimes.
You're all on the MTG Arena train now.
Oh yeah, well that's different because that requires absolutely no mechanical skill. So that's right up my wheelhouse. Anything that involves any sort of clicking is puts me at an immediate disadvantage. But that's why I don't play. I just cast. That's
Yeah, the big brain plays aren't followed up by the big mechanic plays, but we'll have to see if that's going to be the way that's coming into this draft here. We're going to be seeing the first band coming through. It's going to be that Silas. So
I'm
for
just
guys
getting-
maybe
Getting the client here. Sorry, guys. I realize I don't have it on the.
oh, no worries.
Yeah, no worries. Just looking at Silas. So for anyone who doesn't play this game a huge amount, Silas allows people to steal a lot of the other guys' ultimates. So just taking that off the board means that if you want to go for this big wombo combo style, you want to have Silas who's going to turn that right back on top of you. So just making sure that they're getting that out of the way nice and early.
And one thing to keep a note of is the Silas. The main reason I see him in a lot of the games now is as that Urgot counter pick, considering how good Urgot is. So whenever I think there's that blue side ban, maybe it's that bold intention that you do want that Urgot. I think if you have a player who plays him, it's a really nice safe pick to get for yourself. So maybe that's what they're going for.
Yeah, I'm looking over at Steve Breen as well. If he is going to be going towards that top lane, he's a big Urgot player. So that could be why we're seeing this. Just like, do you know what? I've been up against this guy too many times. Don't want that to happen again.
Gotta get him as comfy as possible in that top lane. Seen a couple of AD carry bans come out as well. The Sivir and the Twitch, two big AoE team fighters. So maybe they're worried about that for both of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, Sivir is just kind of nice as well. She's able to sit back, just wave clear the whole time, so makes it a little bit more difficult to deal with her. And yeah, we're going to see that Urgot back through. So Steve won't be able to get his hands on it this time.
Oh, that's Silas ban for not. Unless they were looking to ban it away, just in general. But yeah, Urgot, pretty terrifying to go against even in any regular scenario. So going against a good Urgot player is not something you really want to do. However, will allow them to go with that Ahri first pick. They took away the Fizz as well, so maybe softening up that mid lane matchup and getting a pretty standard mid laner, one that's generally you can go to in all situations, and you can get quite a few nice things out of her. Charm, always handy too.
Yeah, I think Ahri kind of sits in that spot where she's good at everything. It's like, oh, you need wave clear? Cool, we got Ahri. You want somewhat of an assassin? Cool, we got Ahri. Team fighter? Ahri. It's like just kind of the
very
best
safe as well.
Exactly. So nice one to pick that up early. And Nunu's not one that we actually see a huge amount of, but I'm a massive fan of the Nunu pick. I actually think he's in a really good spot at the moment. We saw him start to get a little bit of play in professional level, just because he can deal a lot, like you can actually move through your jungle incredibly quickly with that Q, with the chomp. And then you're able to go as well. The ganks are really good with that, the biggest snowball ever as well. And partnered with a Galio too. That's going to be a lot of CC that can follow very quickly from this team.
We're radioing in the picks and bans. I think it's still a black screen.
Sorry guys, my OBS doesn't seem to want to display the client for me here.
Yeah, it can be tricky.
Capture.
Sometimes try. What's the? I'm trying to think
I'm
of the
doing
setting.
game capture window, but it's not. And I'm
Is window capture? Yeah, window capture
capture
should
specific
be fine.
window, League of Legends client. It's all there, but it's just not coming through for whatever reason. So sorry about that.
Is there another option for it? Just to quick, because I think sometimes there's two League of Legends clients and it might be on the wrong one, which is the game client. Which
There's only one right now, so it's.
okay, well then.
League client UX.
Maybe it's OBS and the client are running on different graphics cards. I have had a lot of issues with getting the client to display on my own streams before, so I'm just trying to remember everything that I've ever had to fix up.
Yeah, I've only got one card, so I don't know, man. What's this?
I have no willy.
Nice
All right.
Up, he shouts.
Yeah.
Well,
Fair play.
we'll do our best to run through the champions, I guess,
Yeah.
If you
and
This is
try.
like, it's like radio. This is how they
Yeah.
did it. This is how
Exactly.
they did League back in the day when there was no telly,
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
they used to just commentate League on the radio. I remember as well. I was
Oh, yeah,
in
me,
Nipper at the
Mihal and
time.
Ware Hertig,
That's right.
covering the team fights,
yeah.
going mad. But
the game
So-
itself
Which I
will
feel goes
hopefully-
against everything Ericsson stands for.
but yeah, so far, we see the Ari was followed up by an Orin and a Jinx pick, and then it was Nar for Ericsson. So they've got a lot of their they've self-picked their bottom lane, I believe, unless that's a Galio support, which could be something neat, but not quite sure. Never know with these guys.
Oh yeah. Maybe they got some Faker inspiration.
Oh yeah, that's what I'd like to see. Yeah, the Galio has kind of been around for a little while now. Like I'm just looking at the amount of wombo that's going to be on this red side here with between Nunu, Galio, Nar. That's a terrifying engage tool that you've got there. So you can get the Nar to slam everyone back into a wall. You've got the Nunu to just plant that ultimate down on top of it. And then it's like Galio's just here like, hey guys, I don't want to miss out on the fun. Let's just fly directly into this zone. So overall, I do like the composition that's come out from red side. Very strong kind of forward moving team comp. And then you've got Caitlyn who scales very well into the late game. So she'll work wonders alongside this. The only thing is they need a decent start to the game, or they have the possibility in the mid game of struggling a little bit because Caitlyn starts to fall off around there. So look to see them try and make a few early plays, but then maybe back off and take a second, take a little bit of a breather before they start into anything too much. Looking at the opposite side though, you're going to see a Mumu, Ornn, Jinx, Morgana, and Ari are going to be the final ones. So again, another big team fighting team coming in here. You got a Mumu, an Ornn, big AOE ultimates and big CC ultimates that are going to work wonders alongside that Morgana. So, and again, you're seeing that late game AD carry come in the Jinx. So these are two teams anyway that really want to start butting heads the second they move out of lane.
Yeah, I think that bottom lane has pretty interesting dynamic. I think the Caitlyn Nami can be a very oppressive lane because that's just a lot of poke coming out. Whereas Jinx Morgana can do a little bit of damage in lane. They might not be able to match the Caitlyn Nami, but as a combination, they scale a little bit better. Morgana can provide nice defense for the Jinx, who has those better damage steroids. So it's kind of a cool dynamic, I think, especially if the EA bottom lane can. It is EA on the blue side, right? I'm just making 100% sure because.
Yeah.
On the right,
Okay. I thought so, but I had a little bit mixed up in my head. But yeah, so like in that EA bot lane, if they can have a nice laning phase, then Tay Nava could be a pretty big force to be reckoned with in those later stages of the game. Something for Ericsson to watch out for.
Yeah, Jinx has definitely been a pick that's kind of seen an open up in the last little while. She's been doing really well. I, for one, do really poorly with their lane, but the great thing about a Jinx is that ultimate means that you can try and pick up kills around the map. Even if you think you're doing poorly, you can always manage to pick up 3 kills that you really don't deserve.
Yeah,
At least that's how I play her.
have to make those highlight reel plays with the ultimate to. Oh, like you said, it's just to make wait to snowball it, but also just looking at the 3 teleports coming out.
Yeah,
Is-
yeah. I wanted to mention that it's like very strange to see support taking teleport as the second summoning spell.
It's yeah. I mean, the two.
When it's Morgana, though, that's pretty terrifying.
Yeah, I think the 2 things that you'll be able to do with that is obviously get back to lane quicker. So you can, if you want to keep pushed, then or just keep the pressure up, that's something you can go for. Also, on the second side, if you want to maybe make a play into the top lane, let's say you have a bit of free time and you can use the counter gank or you can use to show up there, kind of the way a top laner normally would when they want to visit the bottom lane. So there's a couple of options I think to make use of it. May impact the strength of their 2v2, but I don't know. Hoping for some unique teleport plays coming out of the Morg support.
Yeah.
So it is Ericsson on the blue side.
Yeah, so Ericsson is with the Jinx and Morgana.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Well, to be honest, it's nice to see like a familiar face and well decent there, because that was a guy who used to play a lot in the Irish tournaments as well. So it's good to see a few names that we still recognize now moving on into into companies and then coming back to events like this in the Irish Inter-Firm Gaming League. I think it's fantastic to see these guys now bringing more people back into the Irish scene, especially helping out a really good cause. As you can see, Enable Ireland there is the charity this stream is going to be supporting. So make sure that if you are here, you click on that donate button. Everything will be going to help a good cause. So please, please, please get involved and make sure that you're helping out the team here at IIGL.
Right, so looks as if we are loading into game.
I see things on the stream.
That's good.
We did it.
So thankfully
We're no longer a radio.
Yeah, exactly.
Success!
We've successfully upgraded our civilization to the point where we have TV. I've been playing way too much Civ 5 recently. That's having on the brain, but you guys get to see the compositions now in their full glory, including the lineup of skins. Well, Jason repping with the chicken Galio skin.
The real thing you have to do is click on the portraits though to find out who actually has the most points, because that's the only part of this game that actually matters. Whoever has the most points on their champion will win. So I'm looking at, Amumu has 84,000. Although
Ari has 280,000.
That's a lot.
Kenjen is the most.
God damn.
The most masterful.
Yeah, Kenjin loves his Ari. Really loves his Ari.
Yeah, I can understand now why they first picked it. That's a lot of effort to put into that champion.
I got to level 7 as well. Although going up against Dason in the mid lane, who's also level 7 on the Galio, so I would expect Sparks to fly, but Galio's not exactly a very spark fly champion, so
yeah, I think most of the pressure that'll come in that lane is going to be pre that level 6, because once Ari gets access to those dashes, it's going to be nigh on impossible for Nunu and Galio. I want to say Birdio, but Galio to do pretty much or very much even in that lane. So I think realistically, you maybe see a little bit of pressure there early. But I think Nunu kind of has his pick of the litter here as to where he really wants to have his presence known. I mean, Nar will do great if he gets a couple of ganks, can particularly punish this Ornn pretty heavily. Same with the bot lane, getting that Caitlyn and Nami ahead. It's a pretty oppressive lane. Just with the poke that can come through, and Nami can put down the Tidecotter's Blessing, which gives the extra damage to those shots that are coming in from the Jinx. So I sign up from the Jinx from the Caitlyn even. So that Jinx can take a lot of poke very, very early. And you can just slow her up, which makes the snowball very easy for Nunu to land. So there is options there for this EA side if they want to try and make a few early plays. But Nunu's also a champion that is just... he's a pain. He can just wander into your and go, I'm going to take everything. This is mine. I'll take a Gromp on the way out. I have no problems here. So there's also that option. So at the moment, like, Strawberry can pretty much farm wherever he pleases. And it's going to be interesting to see what way he wants to go into the game just based on that.
Yeah, he can farm wherever he wants. If you look at the snowball his lanes as well, as Nunu tends to do. But we are loading in.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I've made that pun way too many times, and no one has noticed. You're actually the first one, which is I blame all of my co-captains for that. But yes, so we are loaded onto the Rift for this game 1. It is Ericsson on the blue side, EA on the red side. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what these teams bring to the table in our first game.
Oh yeah.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Will we see some sneaky invades?
Very possible. I mean, Morgana is a champion that can do a lot early game, but I think at the moment they're just going to fan it out a little bit. And they don't want to take it too much pressure at the early game. They're like, this is a friendly. You don't want to go in and just be like, let's throw a fight.
That's all the more reason to lay it all on the line. Run in, level 1. I mean, like you said, the Morgana gives them a few options, especially with the teleport as well. I mean, if she does end up in trouble, they're not going to lose too much if they go for a later invade, I think. But seemingly no shenanigans here. We may have to wait till next game. And looks like it's going to be fairly standard blue buff starts for both of these junglers. Nunu does need that blue buff. Or rely on it quite a bit to get through his early clear. So he's going to be happy to pick that one up.
Yeah, just looking at the stream, I think we need to get the full overlay up.
What do you need, sorry?
Where's
That one?
what was the button? Let me see if I can find the button. Hit
in the bottom left
there you
corner.
go. Yeah, now hit O. And that should bring up the scoreboard then, and then we should all be in good shape. Yeah, there you go. Now everyone can see nice and neatly where their advantages are going to be, because especially the thing that's been annoying me is the new, well, not annoying me, but the new bounty system. You really need to look at like the creep scores and the turret plate and everything to find out where those actual bounties are coming from, because there's an entire mathematician section that's been set up, I think, to figure out where these bounties are coming from at this point. But
hey.
Strawberry is coming into the bottom side.
Here's the early Nunu gank. Quick flash out of the Morgana. Pedantia was playing up in the lane, managed to land a binding before that came through, so maybe slowing the Nami down, which helped her out, although safe flash means that no problem staying in lane, although that summoner spell is down, could make things tricky if Strawberry does come back to the lane.
We'll have to see if it is going to be a repeat. I mean, Morgana, once she gets access to Black Shield, should be okay here, so getting the Black Shield, or the flash down isn't going to be too much of an issue. As well, you can just throw binding on top of the Nunu and go, cool, the snowball, it can wander to wherever it needs to go across the map. It's not going to be too much of an issue. But we're going to see an answer for the gank. Not quite going to be able to land, though.
JFan number 1, thanks so much for the donation.
These junglers active early. The Nunu maybe you expected a little bit. Actually, he's back in the bottom lane again. Once again, so straight for the Morgana, helped out by the heal. Oh, the Caitlyn does get it with the headshot. First blood for Penguin King on that Caitlyn. There's that bot lane advantage coming through.
I expected Strawberry to be nice and fluffy with a name like that, but instead, that person is completely out for blood. They do not want to mess about here. Managed to pick up first blood for Penguin King as well, and now in mid lane.
Yeah, there's the flash forward there, looking for the solo kill as well. Dason, nice flash right at the last minute, and a nice bit of return damage coming through onto that Galio. Flash 4, flash traded, and Kengen does not go down. We've seen the top lane. This Nara is very, very low, or looking for the auto attacks, but the hop means that Gadaran can get enough distance between him and his opposing top laner. Close calls in both solo lanes.
Yeah, very close calls, but both just about able to escape. Gadaran will have access to that Mega Gnar in just a moment, and with no mana left on Steve Breen, I think kill pressure is pretty much null and void in that top lane from now on. But I'm interested to see now where these junglers are going to go again, because clearly these guys do not want to faff about in that jungle for too long. They want to make their presence known in these lanes.
Yeah, the Amumu may have to wait a little bit longer. Obviously, those ganks become a lot more threatening when he gets his ultimate at level 6. But yeah, I'm liking the early pressure, especially coming out of Strawberry here. Has his AD carry in a good position. The CS is even, but that nice little buffer of gold will be very handy. If he bases now, he can purchase a BF sword, and that is pretty crucial item, although to be fair, that's true of both AD carries at this stage. But just always being ahead might allow Penguin King and Deathy to just keep control of that 2v2 and start turning that into an even bigger advantage.
Yeah, it's interesting to see now kind of the BF sword come back to being king of the bot lane on that first back purchase. Obviously with the crit changes that came through in 9.3, it means that you've got to look to get that BF sword in the first pack, particularly for both Caitlyn and Jinx. So once you're able to get that, you're in good shape. But if you're stuck on a pickaxe, or you know, something, or even some people who are heading up towards that boots instead, just because of the lack of funds that are there when they go in that first pack, it can really hurt you in the long run. So now that both of these ADCs are okay, should be able to pick up similar items, they'll be in good shape heading in towards that mid game.
Yeah, there's nothing sadder than playing AD carry and having to back on 1100 gold.
Yeah. It's also how I die a lot, because I'm like, I shouldn't stay, but I want the extra 200 gold.
That is, especially when you go through and you win a trade in the bot lane and it's fairly early and you're like, oh, this is great, and look at your gold and you're on 1200, and it's like, if I just stay for one more wave,
yeah, that's all
I can base, and then their jungler just comes down because he's got more than enough time to kill the like 0 health AD carries. So, and then you don't even get your BF sword. It's something that every player has experienced and learned from, except me, who doesn't repeatedly. Nice trade in the bot lane coming out here. The Chompers will lock up Penguin King, but that's a lot of damage onto this Jinx. Piltover Peacemaker, not there to finish it off. If level 6 was up, that would be probably a dead Jinx, but manages to make it out alive. This pressure, though, still really, really coming down from the EA bot lane.
Yeah, you just got to keep your eyes on the ground. When you do land a kind of a CC chain like that onto Caitlyn, just got to be careful that you're not standing around the same spot for too long. Just end up on a trap. Oh, hang on a second, in the mid lane here.
Yeah, Fargerta going over the wall. Level 6 for Kenjin, but he's low on mana aside from that. Manages to dash out of the taunt, but well, Dason, with that aftershock on, has more than enough time to make it out nice and safely.
Yeah, I think those ganks are going to get a lot more potent in a little while, though. See, Fear Gord is sitting at that level 5, will very soon be hitting that level 6 point, and that's when you'll see that the little tickles that are coming in from the Amumu will suddenly turn to tears for a lot of the side of EA.
Yeah, those big multi-man Amumu ultimates can win you a team fight almost on their own. So Fargerta will be hoping for that, as well as just adding to his ganks, giving over the blue buff like any nice jungler would. And Kenjin's mana woes should be eased a little bit in this mid lane while he waits for that lost chapter. Whichever mana item take is pleasing. Steve Breen with some nice trades in the top lane. You pointed out that he likes Ornn, and seems to be showing it here in this 1 versus 1. Really nice trades consistently against this Naren, keeping himself with a small CS lead as a result.
So we decided to have a quick look at the op.gg's before we got into this game, just to see what we were in for. And I looked at Steve Breen's. His Urgot had like 278 games in ranked last season on it. And then I looked at his actual match history, and it was just 9 out of his last 10 games were on Ornn. I was like, okay, so those are the 2 champions we'll see in the top lane here.
I mean, Steve Breen, he knows a good champion when he sees it. It's one of my favorites. Fargerta gonna swing by the bottom lane. Still not with that ultimate available. The Chompers just missed the Caitlyn there. Nice binding connect, but at that point, Penguin King already far enough away. Had both summoner spells available too, so never in any real danger despite the gank.
Nah, but it's good to see that at least this pressure continues to come out, and it means that then Penguin King can't really take over. Oh, hang on a second, speaking of pressure.
Another trade coming in the top. That's a big gank mid lane though. Kenjin in a lot of trouble here. We do see the ultimate coming out from Nunu. Should be enough to finish it off as he goes under the tower and will be able to walk away. Last tower tick not coming through. Probably would have finished him off, but that's the 2nd kill on the board now for EA.
Yeah, and they are looking very, very strong right now. especially in that mid lane where Dason is able to set up Nunu so well. I thought Kenjin would be okay, but didn't have access to the Spirit Rush, which meant that he was in a heap of trouble when that jungler came roaming into the lane. Now we're going to see actually Amumu on the bot side.
There's the flash forward, looking for the ultimate as well. They have kept Penguin King in place. No escape whatsoever, no time to even use the flash. And that is the first kill on the board now for Ericsson.
Limsy, I hope you brought your Lemsip today, because your voice is going to get a workout by the end of this amount of action that's been happening so far.
Yeah, that was finally, I mean, we pinged the level 6, and Faragurt, clearly aware of what his champion can do when it hits that point in the game, immediately making the play, finally getting his team on the game.
Yeah, now we might see a little bit of a breather coming in as Amumu will be clearing off on his red. The blue has already been handed over a long time ago actually to Kenjen, so red is going to be a little bit out of whack when it comes to the buff respawn, but still should be in reasonable shape. But I see a snowball that's heading towards that mid lane.
This looks like Kenjen will be in trouble with no flash available. Spirit Rush is up though, and that means that Ari is always going to be a tricky customer to deal with. One quick one away, one quick one back over the wall. He can just go back to mid lane like nothing happened. So yeah, Kenjen once again evading death, although it would have been a second of the game, but managing to avoid it that time. Actually, top lane, very low trade coming through. Although it seems as if the Nar's okay, and Kenjen constantly being forced to back off by this jungle mid combo.
Oh, managed to get hit that time though.
Yes, stun comes through. The Nunu is there for backup, looking to slow down this Nunu with a lot of damage coming through. However, the ultimates will be comboed. Now they just turn their attention to Faragurt as well, looking for the damage. The Jinx ultimate is not enough to turn that one back around, and that is Dason picking up his first of the game on the Galio.
And that's one of the terrifying things about this Nunu Galio combo, is that normally you think that Nunu's ultimate, you want to get that full charge, but it's never really going to happen because you don't have a huge amount of CC to just lock people there. But with that Galio coming in on top of it, if you can just hold them in place for a short second, Galio comes in on top of it, you get that full channel, and suddenly that's a lot more damage than what people are really expecting.
It's making the combo work to good effect are Strawberry and Dason. And that is a 2,000 gold lead over to EA. Doing quite well in most areas of the map for themselves, eking out the little advantages over their opponents. The one real bright spot for Ericsson is that top lane where Steve Green is doing quite a nice bit of work for himself in the 1 versus 1. We'll see what that Orin can do. Already taking down a couple of turret plates as well, so sitting on quite a nice nest egg. Will be a nuisance in these team fights at least.
Yeah, if you're just looking at the top lane there, it's 800 gold in favour of Ornn at the moment, so that's a lot that's been going over into the Forge God's pocket, and we'll have to see now if he'll be able to turn that into advantages around the map, or if he just wants to keep pushing in this top lane. That first turret gold is definitely going to be a boon to the side of EA if they can get their hands on it.
And even if things look tricky in terms of the gold discrepancy, things like the Call of the Forge God and the Curse of the Sad Mummy that Ericsson have available, combo those ultimates together, and those are huge teamfight tools that will allow this Jinx to do quite a bit of work. However, Penguin King doing quite a bit of work. The flash over the choppers as well, really going aggressive for this kill, looking for it with the pilt over Peacemaker. Ace in the hole will kill either. He chooses to support. Second kill of the game for this Caitlyn. Strawberry now, he wants to get in on the action. So does Dason in the mid lane. There's action happening everywhere. Once again, Kenjen is able to escape nice and easy. Strawberry also wasn't able to convert it into another kill, but that's still one more for EA.
Turns out you let these people out of the office so they turn into absolute animals.
Oh, that was so close again. And we saw the Winds of War as well. Could have ended up getting Kenjin on the back. Jesus, every time we go back to this mid lane, it's someone either dying or nearly dying. But once again, neither member going down. Looks as if EA will be able to pick up the Cloud Drake. So that's a nice extra objective to pick up on the back of all the kills they've been getting.
Yeah, so it will be the Cloud Drake though. It does help out a fair amount just with kind of the mobility, particularly when you're looking at trying to avoid stuff, as we were saying, that Ornn ult, the Amumu ult. These are kind of the big ones that you want to try and sidestep, or at least, you know, get away from a bandage toss from the Amumu. So having a little bit of extra movement speed there will be nice, but we'll have to see. I think the next one coming up is actually going to be another Cloud Drake as well, so we're not going to be any of those exciting ones like that Infernal Drake for the moment, but still going to be a nice pick for the side.
out of combat movement speed is very exciting. All right, don't contest that. Steve Breen is being contested in the top lane here. Going to get rooted up at the end, flashing away. Has the call of the forge got here? This Narc could be in a lot of trouble. The tower shot is going to be able to do it. Well, Jason now trying to dive onto the tower here, and he has more than enough damage. Strawberry flashing in for good measure at the end, but he's been abandoned by his teammate. And that's a double kill for Steve Breen, making the plays under the tower. A bit of miscommunication as well from EA, going to help him out. And once again, Ericsson top laner coming through.
I'm just reminded of the El Rockcat where it was Steve in the top lane. Now we got another Steve who's putting in absolute work for this team. Able to pick up the double kill there underneath the tower. So absolutely fantastic. But with that pressure as well that's been put in towards the top side, now you're able to get that pressure in the mid lane as well for EA. Galio will pop up for a short while. Takes a lot of damage though.
And the tower does go down. Well, Jason could be in trouble, but a nice taunt will slow the advances of Kenjin and Fargurta. And he does make a clean escape. But first tower going over to Ericsson is a nice pickup, taking advantage of the roam top lane by that Galio and just committing to that mid lane tower. Although Kenjin, once again, being chased down by this Nunu, able to lock up Kenjin, forcing the ultimate out of the Ari here. But he's going to flash forward. Look for the play in the mid lane. Not enough skill shots to connect though. Missing the charm on the back onto that Gnar as well. Nice try, but the play not working out there for Kenjin as he would have hoped.
All he needed was that return damage to come through. The true damage would have been enough to take down Strawberry, but somehow manages to worm his way out of that one and won't be caught out by the turret once again. They're going to see, actually, well, Jason does need a charm, but manages to juke his way out of that one.
Well, that Galio was already getting out of dodge after the charm connected, so no chance for Kenjin to capitalize here. Once again, Penguin King in this bottom lane, laying down the damage. Steve Breen though, far away from his tower, and he's actually locked up. Does get the second proc of his ultimate, but still a lot of work to do. Doing a nice bit of damage to Strawberry here, but still 2 versus 1. And Ornn not really the champion with the tools to make that work for him. It is a shutdown coming through onto the Gnar. Gateran will be happy with that pickup. Finally dealing with this Ornn.
Yeah, it took a lot to take down the Ornn though, and no shield on the Bellows Breath means that no longer is he going to be able to live through that gank. Strawberry does pick up and add another one to his back pocket. He's been involved in 5 of the 6 kills on this Ericsson side. That person has been putting in absolute work. And as well, now that we've just crested that 15-minute mark, you got to start looking at the items that are coming in for Ericsson as well. No, that Infinity Edge has been fully completed for the Caitlyn. Looking at fully completed Rod of Ages, and Penguin actually say that's the
look at
Infinity
the
Edge
damage of these crits coming through. Ace in the hole will come out as well. Not enough to finish off Tay Nava, but this poor Jinx just on the end of a beating throughout this game. Once again, it's actually going to be the dual lane of EA backing off. Potentially wary, they're not quite sure where the rest of the enemy team is, maybe. Willing to back off, not going to push down that tower for now, but they just have had so much control over the lane throughout this game.
Yeah, it's tough, especially as we were saying against that Caitlyn and Nami. They're super oppressive. Anytime you try and go up to get any sort of pressure on a wave or to try and take a CS, Nami can put damage on top of you, the Caitlyn can put damage into you as well, and particularly when you're pretty slow with that Jinx, you're going to feel that damage.
And Steve Breen has to be pretty tired of all the visitors in the top lane at this point. Once again, able to retreat to his tower this time, and well, Jason knows better than to try the dive after didn't go so well for them the first time they attempted it, but still focusing their attention on this Ornn after Steve Breen was doing quite nicely for himself in the 1 versus 1. Not really a 1 versus 1 anymore. Mid lane though, could see some action happening here, however, well, Jason looking for the engage, not really able to find it. Kenjin, once again, likes to go aggressive with those Spirit Rush charms, but not overstaying his welcome with the ultimate.
As much as it sucks for Steve to be on the receiving end of so much pressure coming out from Ericsson, it's what Ericsson need to do. We already said it, you know, Steve is the one guy who's winning his lane up in the top lane at the moment, so if you can try and shut that down for Ericsson, it just stops any sort of answer coming through. But as I say that, looks like they want to get involved in that top lane fight.
Ultimate's coming out as well, but really nicely timed Gnar ultimate to throw Steve Breen away from the Ram. However, this Ornn, very, very tanky, proving quite tricky to get through. Meanwhile, it's actually a nice Cloud Drake take here by Ericsson, looking for the fight as well. Great ultimate from Fargurta to start off, and now they're looking for the damage onto this Galio, but he is beefy in his own right and can make the escape before that health bar hits 0. Able to retreat to the safety of his own tower. Nice attempt by Ericsson, but they don't get anything past the Drake.
And that's exactly what you were talking about earlier on, Whimsy. When you're looking at this EA side, yes, they might be slightly behind, but because of how strong their team fighting is, if they can get one good engage, this can completely flip around and be all in favor of EA. We nearly saw that come to fruition there. They couldn't quite get the kill, but you still got to be wary on this Ericsson side that you're not giving those openings across.
Have to make sure that it is as clean as you can be. Like I said, Ericsson will likely be relying still on those big team fight combos once they can get Steve Breen to those fights. To help out with the engage, at Fargerda will be looking to start off past the 20-minute mark now, so Baron is something that these teams will have an eye on, and already Strawberry has his sights set on clearing out the vision and making sure that the control of the area is in favor of EA. However, Fargerda has an idea of what's going on. But, well, Jason waiting in the bush. Steve Breen was looking for the flank here. May have caught them off guard, and the retreat immediately comes through, forcing the teleport out of the Gnar as well. So, cagey play coming out as soon as that Baron spawns. Both teams don't want to be the ones losing control of that area.
No, definitely don't, and especially when you can see Caitlyn is pushing in this top lane as well. Penguin King wants to pick up the second tower now for his team. Will be able to do so. Steve can try and help out a little bit, but there's not going to be much you can do against that tower. Now, actually, Gadaran wants to get involved in this fight as well.
That's a hop forward. He really wants to commit to this, but he has the backup of Penguin King and Deathy, so it's more than enough to force this Ornn away. Steve Breen not looking to try anything in that top lane here, and now they can potentially rotate this to the mid lane with control of that top side of the map. Kenjen sticking in the bottom lane, split pushing for that tower, and should be able to get it on his own, but I'm wondering what the 5-man squad of EA now camped in this mid lane can do with the pressure.
But we're going to have to find out. There is a lot of poke that can come down from Penguin King. They want to try and push in here and see if they can put a little bit of love taps onto this turret to demolish as well there to help out quite a bit, but now, this is where we're going to see it. Steve is coming in, does have that Call to Forge God available if he wants to go for the fight.
And we see the engage coming through. Great ultimate once again from Fargerda, and that is a dead Nami almost immediately. Great pick off to start the fight for Ericsson. Not able to get much more with their two key engage ultimates down. A nice binding. Could make things tricky for Decent, but they don't really have much more damage to follow up on the Galio. Kenjen forced to use the ultimate to evade and engage in that sideline, however, but Steve Breen now looking for it with a great knockup coming through from the charge. However, does his team have the damage to back him up here? This Jinx popping at the auto attacks, but the enemy's just so tanky, and the rockets not connecting onto the Caitlyn either means that they cannot capitalize on the engage. Ericsson throwing quite a lot at EA, but EA dealing with it as best as they can.
At the end of the day, though, it was still kills going over towards that EA side, and most of them managed to escape as well. So it is a win for EA, especially when we're looking at they were the ones that were struggling to get into this game. Holding off Ericsson on that push means that now Ericsson got to retreat with the tail between their legs as well. Will most certainly be making a trip back towards this mid lane because they want to try and get that last outer turret down. But overall, I think it's going to be a bit of a tough call for them to try and get back into this game.
Yeah, that's still Ericsson on the blue side facing a deficit. Those team fights can work out for them. This Jinx still has quite a ways to scale up, though. That's another thing that they have to worry about, because Tainava in those last fights had a lot of time to lay down the damage, but with only the Infinity Edge in the inventory at the moment, not doing quite enough to tear through these tanks. Few more items purchased in the later stages of the game, and that is a completely different story. Tainava can really do some damage, even to the big frontline tanks on the side of EA. So once again, they just need to operate their team fights like this and wait for the scaling, and I think Ericsson do have some potential to make things tricky for an EA team despite being behind in goal.
Well, Whimsy, I hope the start of this game was a nice warm-up for you, because that's an Infernal Drake that's now about to spawn, and if you wanted more action in this game, that's how you
Drake.
get it.
I wanted my third Cloud Drake. All right, a Cloud Drake best of 3 is what I was hoping for with the teams one
That's
apiece.
the decider. That's the breaking point. If it goes to 1-1 after these games, the third game is decided by the amount of people
These
with
teams
Cloud Drakes.
definitely want the Infernal Drake, though. We see both Pedantia and Steve Breen using their teleports to get to that Drake pit. Red buff being picked up by Tainava as well, who actually had close to 2,000 gold to spend and spent it all on those components. And once again, the engagement for Gertrude, but only gets the front line here. And now the counter engage coming through from this Gnar. A big Orn ultimate will lock up the back line, but I'm not sure it's quite enough as the damage doesn't seem to be connecting from Ericsson here. However, they have forced most of the members on the side of EA back, and maybe they can try chase them down. Kenjin taking a big heap of damage from the ace in the hole here. The Winds of War as well, meaning this Ari cannot get close enough. And these teams will back away, not really able.
Nobody died in that entire engage. Although they say that Steve Brain caught out a little bit. That might be the go button now for EA to try and start up this Drake. This is a risky call though. There's still a lot of members of Ericsson floating about this pit.
Yeah, and we've seen Steve Breen be a one-man army at points almost. Teleport coming through from Kenjin again, but that will be the Inferno going over to this Nunu, and they want to fight afterwards as well, but a nice charm to interrupt the snowball, and maybe Steve Breen is thinking of round 2, but without that call of the Forge God, probably too risky a proposition. Kenjin might have found that Galio on the side, but well, Dason turns tail just in time to avoid being caught out by the RECC, and that's the Infernal Drake with nothing lost for EA, and after a few tricky plays previously, seem to be re-establishing control of these skirmishes.
Yeah, and we'll have to see if they can repeat that as well. Baron is on the cards. We've hit that 25-minute mark, and a lot of the members of EA are starting to hit those big item points that they want to get to. You can see the rapid-fire cannon has been completed on Caitlyn, so she's now starting to come out of that trough and really hit her power point as we got towards these later stages of the game. Alongside that Galio as well, he's going to be working up towards his second item. You can see the Spirit Visage has been completed by Nunu, so a lot of magic resist there, which means that the likes of Fear, Gorda, and Kenjin won't really be able to do very much towards the big beefy. I was going to say Yeti, that's the word I was looking for. So I guess not a Gromp.
I mean, is it this skin? The Demolisher Nunu. Is it still a Yeti in the Demolisher Nunu skin? Or like a Yeti
at least
with
he
armor?
wasn't the old school. Like for the old school Nunu, he just put on like essentially an American football helmet. It was like, I'm game, let's go. But I don't know exactly what he constitutes as now.
Part of me really misses old school Nunu. Well, maybe not as
the disco Nunus.
maybe not as cute and adorable. He had his own likability to his champion design here. But Penguin King in a lot of trouble here. The flash forward, they go immediately in on this Caitlyn. A lot of ultimates used, but that's a big shutdown, and EA, without a key member of their team for the next 30 or so seconds, could be a Baron call out of Ericsson if they want to go for it, but maybe not willing to risk it for the moment, just clearing out the vision with the control they have for right now.
Yeah, I think it'd be a risky call when if there was 4 ultimates committed to take out Caitlyn. Now, it is fair, Caitlyn is absolutely massive right now and should give them a little bit of control over the map to clear out that vision control and see what they can get started for themselves, but I think when you've committed that much... Oh, hang on.
In a lot of trouble here. The Galio looking for the flash taunt but wasn't able to connect to it, and now Steve Breen on the killing spree as he finds Anami on the back. And without their AD carry, the rest of EA do not want to deal with anything Ericsson is bringing to that fight and back off immediately. But Ericsson finding pick after pick here, that time turning around the engage.
Yeah, it looks like Steve Breen wants to make sure that Mermaid is on service in the Ericsson canteen this week, but gotta see if they can now push forward into the jungle and get some control back in their favor, because you can see the amount of red wards that are hovering around in the Baron pit. I mean, there's 2 in the back of Baron pit, there's 1 at the top of that red side, there's even in the entrance to the river and even over by the Raptors as well, so complete control right there means that at the moment EA will be able to sniff out anything Ericsson wants to do, but we'll have to see now if the fight is what they want to go for.
Yeah, that's a low mid lane tower here, but this could be low members on the side of Ericsson with the engage coming through from the Nunu and the Gnar, but Steve Breen with a nice flash over the wall, running right into a Galio though, and that is probably the Ornn going down here, rooted at the end of his dash. 1 more auto from the Caitlyn will do the trick, shutting down Steve Breen. And EA, after a rough couple of fights, get 1 kill for themselves. Meanwhile on the top side, jungler versus jungler in the lane. That's not where you guys were supposed to be fighting, but Strawberry coming out on top on the Nunu. Vargurta though, with the re-engage bandage toss, just looking to trick him. Will he, won't he? But probably is better backing off, and he will retreat from the fight. But EA with the nice fight win in the mid lane, now ready to push with this Caitlyn.
Yeah, you gotta love the battle of the AoE damage that's coming out from the Mumu and the Nunu, just where it's like, oh, okay, I can hurt you with my W is the Nunu, my tears, and then I've just got Cinder Hook Bird on both of them. It's like, who actually ends up coming out on top? And it turns out they just end up going back and forth forever. Now they're gonna start taking down that mid lane turret. in favor of EA, which is going to be great for them because that now offers them a little bit of the option to put more vision into the Ericsson side of the map. See if they can try and get control of this Baron area and then look to close out this game. But with how difficult it's been for them, and particularly with how well Ericsson have been playing in these small corridors in and around the Baron pit, I'd actually be a bit wary of them trying to push forward because they can get punished so heavily.
Next Drake is spawning in just over 15 seconds. Mountain will help either team with their sieges or a Baron take if they want to go for it. Given the Jinx and the Caitlyn, both teams will be happy to grab that for themselves. That's the one thing. I think with this AD carry matchup, any team that manages to get that Baron buff can be very, very threatening. They just need to push the minions there, and the AD carries can almost free hit the tower with such long range. So these teams want to iron the Mountain Drake. However, a nice bubble will catch out the Ari. The engage coming through, and the Galio able to stop the Call of the Forge God with a really nicely timed taunt. The Dragon is taken by the Nunu. However, that's a couple of picks coming over for that Ari with the Spirit Rush. So Ericsson focusing on the kills, finding 3 for themselves, losing the Mountain Drake, but that gives them a lot of time to work with.
And that's what we're saying, is that the team fight from Ericsson is so strong and they are playing these incredibly well. It makes it so difficult for EA to try and get any sort of control in and around these pits. And the second that Ericsson sniff that EA are around, they pull that trigger and they manage to pick up a few kills. Now they're pushing on towards that inhibitor turret. Jinx is a long way from home, but they should still be able to pick this up.
Static Shiv proc clearing a lot of that wave away, and they're not able to finish off the tower. Caitlyn slowed down by the Morg binding will allow them to get to safety, even with Strawberry in hot pursuit. That Nunu can't lock them up for long enough. But it's an interesting kind of comparison. The committal to the Drake as opposed to the all in on the team fight seemingly working out for Ericsson, but not able to get that inhib tower, not able to crack open the base, and they might have to worry about, and next fight they lose, that Baron is going to be even easier for EA to take. Any sieges with this Caitlyn a little bit more effective now with that Mountain Drake on board. Ace in the hole will be enough to finish off the Jinx, and this could be a big problem for Ericsson here. They're able to lock up Fire Greta under the tower as well. Caitlyn focus again, the mid-tier 2 will finish it off. Hero's entrance for good measure as well. Kendra with the Spirit Rush looking for an angle, met with the Caitlyn shot to the face. Not able to do anything there, and now it seems as if once again EA firmly in control of the map.
Yeah, Tainava gets left high and dry as the ace in the hole is coming through. Nobody wants to block that up for the AD carry, and you try to put all of that pressure then onto Kenjen to be that big damage dealer, but there's just not enough there at the moment. Now it's going to be EA pushing on towards this Baron. Ericsson know this is going down. They want to try and stop this.
Teleport's coming in, and Steve Breen has a ram ready for EA if he can find the right time to use it, but he needs to watch out for all the CC. They seem to be zoning the Ornn off, and they have the Baron low enough. Will be finished before an engage even comes through from Ericsson here, and now Steve Breen could be in trouble as the crowd control comes through. He's not going to be able to get to see the second part of his ultimate as they kill him before the ram charges through. Nice pick off the back of the Baron, and this looks like it might just be the turning point in favor of EA.
Yeah, Call of the Forge God is more of a goodbye than anything else in that scenario. And you can see Nunu chasing down Morgana, trying to just zone her away from this turret as EA start to push in towards the base. This game has been so back and forth, but will they be the first one to try and break it?
Fargerta looking for the engage, hits 3 with the ultimate, but the backup isn't really there as he takes so much damage on the way in. He just has to run out straight away, and they probably have to watch this inhibitor go down. Nice charm, could turn it into a kill on the Galio, but the damage just isn't there. A heal for good measure means that, well, Dason is still standing. Kenjin trying to find anyone at the end with that charm, but they had already escaped with the inhibitor going down, and really nice sequence of plays chained together by EA to break open that Ericsson base and give them a foothold towards winning this game.
Exactly. Now that that inhibitor has gone down, super minions will be cascading down into the base of Ericsson. They've got to make sure that someone stays there to try and clear out that wave, or at least they can try and push it in as a team unit, which is why you're seeing them move together towards that mid lane, start to clear out the worst of these waves. They've got a little bit of time though. There's no Baron on the cards quite yet. Obviously that's not going to be up for about another 4 minutes, 5 minutes say. So they can hold out, try and get the waves back in their favor here, and make sure that there's no real pressure to come out from EA. But I don't think EA really want to give them that opportunity, that moment of respite to get back into this game, because if they do, they've still got Jinx picking up a lot of items for herself. Static Shiv completed, now working her way up towards that rapid fire. You can see the Rabadon death cap is going to be completed on Ari. These are all turning into big damage dealing champions, but that's not the case for Strawberry. Will manage to take off a little bit of health from Fear Gartha, who was trying to get in towards the backline, seeing if he can get that big ultimate into play. In the top lane, you see the split push has started from Gartora.
And this Gnar now a lot more threatening with that Baron buff to help him out, and just looking for a 1-3-1 of sorts to get down these outer towers. With Galio holding down the fort in the mid lane, he can move nicely to either side lane with that hero's entrance, so a fantastic decision to have him man the middle lane for now, and even just escort those mid lane super minions towards the tower, whereas this Jinx struggling to deal with the cannon minion. And oh, okay, that is a dead Morgana. That Caitlyn Tavish really helping out with the rest of the team as well, and that is the perfect time for Dace to flank, looking for Steve Green, forcing the flash out of the Ornn. He's going to live to fight another day, but I'm not sure about the rest of his team as the push continues from EA.
Yeah, they're trying to see if they can zone away Taineva from this tower. Kenjin now trying to see if he can get the 1v1. Will be able to do it, but in the bottom lane now, the inhibitor has gone. Is it going to be worth if it's going to be EA who are able to continue pushing forward towards the Nexus?
Two inhibitors down now. They are happy to just camp out in the base. Let those cannon minions do the damage here. Escort more waves towards. There's an Elder Dragon up for them to take, and to amp up those elemental buffs that they are already getting. This is looking like the game is well and truly in EA's hands, and while the Miracle teamfight is still there, is still a possibility from Ericsson. The goal lead isn't that much as well, so the stats are pretty close. It's just a case of, with that extra damage coming through from that that Elder Dragon buff, it's looking like it's going to be pretty slim pickings for Ericsson, unless a miracle comes their way.
It is definitely tough, but there's still the opportunity there. Ericsson have shown that their team fights can be incredibly good, especially if Fargorta can get in towards the backline. If he can be that big factor in these team fights with the Curse of the Sad Mummy, they can turn this around. Oh, actually, as I say that, he's going to get caught out. There's not too many members of Ericsson around here. They want to try and get the hell out of dodge very quickly.
Yeah, Strawberry now a lot more happy to scope for these engages here, forcing the flash out of Kenjin, who already used the Spirit Rush, so really a threat now as this Nunu just looking to charge at his enemies here, and has the Snowball to help him out with the charge. Nicely timed charm, though, will stop the engage coming through, but certainly quite a bit of caution coming into the play of Ericsson at this stage in the game. They need to time their engage perfectly if they want to turn this one around. And that's a nice charge. That's a lot of damage onto that Gnar, but he is able to get to safety. In the top lane, though, Steve Green in quite a bit of trouble as the Caitlyn now backed up by her knight in shining armor. Well, Dacent able to help him out, get the assist for Penguin King, 6th kill of the game, as this Caitlyn looking to push towards Inhib Tower number 3.
And the rest of the cavalry are arriving as well, as now they're going to start, as you're saying, pushing in towards that inhibitor turret. Kenjin wants to do something about that, though.
Looking for the pick, finds the Nami. That's one member down. Can they get the other 4 in this defense? Kenjin with the Spirit Rush forward again, but taking a lot of damage off the back of the shutdown comes through. Penguin King wreaking absolute havoc, and the rest of the team just lining them up with all the CC in the world. A double kill under that tower, and it's looking like it could be GG here with only Tainava and Pedantia left alive. They would need a miracle to stop this, with the first Nexus tower about to go down. A root comes through from the Morgana to slow Gadaran down a little bit, but this Gnar is well too tanky at this stage in the game. Looking for the flash taunt to end it with a flash is Dacent, not able to get the kills as the retreat comes through from the bot lane of Ericsson, but that does allow EA to take game 1 here of this season.
It was closer, though, than expected, especially when we were looking at how that game started off. It looked like only Steve Breen was the shining light for Ericsson, but the engages came through. They were able to find those big team fights that were bringing them back to the brink of taking down EA and cracking open their base, but unfortunately, it was not meant to be. EA managed to scramble themselves together and get back into the game.
EA capitalizing on the advantages that they got for themselves early, just before the big team fight could come online, and a few key picks as well, with some nice objective moves in those later stages of the game, allowing them to win game one. So congratulations to those guys. Of course, there is the opportunity for redemption if Ericsson can have a better game too. Maybe just a little bit of an easier time in the early game, depending on what they want to go for.
Yeah, I think that's might be where they're looking for, is try and get maybe a couple of stronger champions anyway for the early stages of the game, and then they should definitely be able to come back into this. It was a lot closer than it looked like when you were looking at the gold lead at the end of it. I think once they get themselves kind of more settled in the early game, and then they're the ones in control and able to find the fights that they want, they can definitely take the game, or at least take a couple of these battles.
Yeah, it seems to be two pretty nicely matched teams here, which is it's good. Always good to cover. I'm excited to see. I wonder if Steve Breen is going to get the Orn again. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
His Orn was very fun to watch, and also very effective for a lot of it. But
so I think we've one we've one person just going to swap out a headset. I think this wasn't performing too well in that match. I'm going to set up another lobby. Thanks to everybody for the follows and of course the donations. If you want to hear more of Father Ted sound bites, you can try.
I mean, is that a question?
You can try You can try hosting us. What else? You can subscribe. You can donate. You can give us bits. You can host. You can follow. If you want to hear, you'll have to do everything. Obviously, if you want to hear all of the bits. Okay, I'm gonna set up another lobby. I will try again to get the client up on the stream. No promises.
So, guys, what do you think? Who was the MVP of the first game?
That's a hard one to call.
yeah, there are a
Like,
few.
if you're looking at the side of Ericsson, like Steve Breen did an excellent job. But then like King Penguin in the bottom lane for EA looked absolutely unstoppable.
Yeah, I think it's for me. I think another person to look out for is Strawberry as well, who was terror in the early game and a big engaged threat in the late stages of the game, which is a lot of what you want for the new. Also, just good objective control in general throughout. But I think, that Caitlyn was a menace and one of probably the key reason they were winning a lot of those late game skirmishes and fights. So I think it has to go over to Penguin King because that's exactly what you want from your Caitlyn AD carry, strong laning phase, and then big damage late game.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. But Strawberry did an amazing job, especially during the early stage of the game. He gave so many openings for Caitlyn actually to shine. So
that's if it wasn't a case of the Caitlyn being so dominant late game, I think the Nunu would have been fine because like his early game was like those repeated ganks in the bottom lane was what set up the duo for EA to really take over the game, and then he went straight to the mid lane where his Dayton was under a little bit of pressure that was immediately relieved. When the top lane wasn't going too great, he starts focusing on that top lane and turn things around.
That was kind of the way Strawberry seemed to play. It was like, do you know what? I'm gonna choose one lane and I'm just gonna destroy it, and then essentially when this is just rubble, I'll up my little marker and I'll move it over to the mid lane, and then I'll just wipe mid lane, and then I'll move up towards top lane. It was like, I've left enough of a mess here. I'll go move on to some.
A very distinct hit list was what it was. He had it ordered out. It's like, okay, I'm gonna the bot lane. I got the mid lane, and then I got the top lane. I'm doing that in order. I can check them all off, and then I win the game. Win game is option number 4. That's.
It's one of the question marks to step 1, step 2, step 3 question mark, step 4 profit. Like, this guy had the entire thing sorted. Finish.
Yeah.
We will be back into the game very shortly, guys. We're just waiting on someone to change a headset, which has got to make that game a heck of a lot more difficult if you're not able to hear your teammates. Like that's
Yeah.
gotta be a big hindrance.
Especially if you can't hear your teammates, but they can hear you. It's just something I've thought of. If it's just the ear parts that's not working, if you want to stay in comms though with your voice, that's.
But I mean, it works out great because whenever that happens, it means that you all get to listen to my wonderful singing, and I don't have to listen to you playing.
Yeah, okay. I hope your headset never breaks. Okay, I can say that. I'm just imagining that though, because that would be. You can imagine the shot caller is sitting there. It's like, all right, guys, we can turn this around. All we need to do is like, oh, he came top lane again. This jungler won't leave. This constantly like talking over.
How long did it take them to find out as well? Like, was it a case of, they're just screaming at him for the past like 40 seconds to just run, and he's just still walking in, no idea that everyone has abandoned him. He's like, where was everyone?
Yeah, shouting for TP. Is probably the key thing you don't want to be missing out on.
See, the thing is though, whenever you shout for TP, pretty much it's never an answer of yes. It's like the answer without fail, like 90% of the time, is where's my ward? Because you haven't given any sort of ward for anyone to come in for. So it's like, oh yeah, we need a TP and we're dead, and nope, there was nowhere even remotely close for you to join in that fight.
That is pretty much 90% of solo queue games I play. Whenever my team is like, where was the teleport? I was ping like the map being completely dark, nowhere to teleport to apart from a ward like about 15 seconds away. So
yeah, but clearly you needed to put on your psychic brain, realize that
or play
Shen
earlier. Or play Shen.
True.
Yeah,
Shen's fun. I like Shen.
Shen is when we played on a team together. I played a lot of Shen.
Yeah, that was because we like to play stupidly over aggressive in the bot lane.
Yeah,
it was more like the emergency escape button was just please just shield someone.
Our mid lane liked to go exploring, which is I mean I love Aiden, but he's an adventurous soul, probably too adventurous for his own good. And our AD carry, great player, but sometimes a forward positioner, and thankfully Shedult is handy for both of those. So. Also, I don't have to do much in myself in the top lane. I can just farm it out and press over on people. It was probably the ideal way to play League of Legends.
I think the ideal way we found to play League of Legends was to stick Aiden on Karthus and then have yourself on Shen, and it was just like, if anyone tried to mess with anyone, it was like calling the backup and the squad would be there in 2 seconds.
We figured it out because we needed 2 carries, alright, but we only had Shen up for 1 carry. So what we do is pick a champion that can do stuff when it dies.
Yeah.
So we keep our 2 carries. Also, Aiden's Karthus was actually pretty good, so that helped.
And these are the big brain plays I want to see coming out from EA and Eric. This is how you sort out everything. You got to mind game yourself to the point where you realize your problems and then just fix them by having someone die constantly.
I mean,
just let them do a thing.
Karthus is a fairly legitimate pick. So,
to be fair, he is.
Yeah,
and he also annoys me a lot because he's now, for anyone who hasn't kept up with the meta at the moment, Karthus has now been moved to jungle, and all he does is stand in the middle of all the creeps in the jungle, press E, stands there, maybe makes himself a cup of tea, whatever he feels like doing. Definitely doesn't have to hit any other buttons. So kills all the creeps, and then every so often, if someone pings, he can go, oh, they're pretty low. So he looks at his keyboard, scratches his head for a little bit, and then hovers the finger directly over the orb button, and then he's got a solid like 12 seconds to do this, by the way. So in between the 12-second window, he has to somehow hit the orb button, and that is how Karthus jungle works. And I'm not salty about that in the slightest.
Yeah,
I'm totally fine with it. I mean, I couldn't,
no,
couldn't be more fine about it.
I feel attacked, but
well, you already said that you don't have mechanics, so I don't feel bad.
Karthus and Soda are 2 most played champions this season.
This is supposed to be a safe stream, okay? It's supposed to be a safe place for everybody.
It is for the guys on the stream, just not with me.
I see how it is. Alright,
I feel slightly bad as well because he kind of dissed everyone else on the Washed Up Warriors team that we were on except for me.
I did. I actually did.
And
hope-
now I've
I
just
hope-
decided,
I
you know
hope-
what?
I
Shoot
hope
you
they're
in the
not
back.
watching.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Aiden's on his wonderful way to Galway, so he'll be happy enough.
Oh yeah, he's. I'd say he's in a better place, but no, that's debatable.
Oh, I'm waiting for Twitch chat to just erupt now.
To anyone from Galway, I'm sorry, I don't mean it that much. But yeah, Carth's a good champion. That's like the conclusion we can draw from.
I mean, to be fair, Froggen even played at mid lane, which makes it a little bit better. But
Yeah. Froggen also plays Nivea. How good does that mean a Nivea is?
I mean, in Froggen's hands, it's pretty damn good.
That is fair, actually. It is a different champion when he plays it. But
Yeah.
Is there any champion that's just like it doesn't matter whose hands they're in?
It's just amazing.
No, it's just terrible.
Oh. Mordekaiser.
I mean, I feel like
Mordekaiser, yeah.
Oh
Let me see,
yeah, I haven't seen him in, in
Yeah,
years.
there is a reason you haven't seen him in quite some time.
There was a time as well. Evelyn was I feel was a lot like that.
See, she's okay because she can just be sneaky.
Mm.
Like, if you're sneaky and you play her well, it's really frustrating. Because it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if the champion doesn't do much, it's just that you don't ever expect her to be where she is, and then you're just like, oh, well, I guess I'm dead.
Yeah, even if Evelyn isn't strong, she's still annoying because she's invisible all the time, and you're kind of frustrated dealing with her. Whereas you see a Mordekaiser, and unless he is having the game of his life and your team is just terrible, you're just gonna see him and it's like, all right, have fun, man. I like with your little dragon. I'll be here winning the game.
Yeah.
I have to give these updates. So apparently, so Fargort has swapped out his headset, but unfortunately, he sounds. This is from Tainava. He now sounds like the dull moments from the beach scene in Saving Private Ryan. And apparently, that is actually a very accurate analogy of what Fargort currently sounds like. I don't know, is he swapping back to his other headset?
That's amazing.
Thank you for the arse biscuits. Keep the arse biscuits coming.
We like arse biscuits here on
We
stream.
love arse biscuits.
Yeah. I'm actually very upset that I've only seen part of Saving Private Ryan and not a huge amount. So I understand where the reference is coming from, but there's a large part of me that doesn't understand it.
Yeah.
As I think about this conversation with Whimsy before, I am the worst man to talk to about movies or TV or anything. I just have not seen anything. Like Breaking Bad, Mad Men, what else?
Wait, I haven't seen those shows either.
I mean, we're gamers, right? Like, we don't,
I haven't
we don't
seen
have time
Father
for
Ted.
this.
I haven't seen Father Ted. I'm
What?
gonna say-
Here now.
Yeah,
Here
there it
now. Here.
Oh my god! It turns out we will allow anybody on this stream. What?
he has infiltrated the stream.
Were you? Wait, what? Did you grow up here, like, or did you grow up someplace else? Or did you grow up here,
I did,
like
I grew up
underground?
here, yeah,
you
They
know,
don't
Yeah.
have TV out in Rush. They don't have TV.
To be fair,
out.
yeah, it's
there's,
yeah.
there's one aerial and they have to share it.
Yeah.
we
I
only
get
have
it
like
for
Tuesdays
games.
You
and
get
Saturdays.
it every other weekend.
Yeah.
Dear Lord, man.
Yeah, no.
Sort that out.
I don't know how it never happened at some point, and then I've just never like. People keep quoting it to me. I'm like, yeah. So now I know like half the quotes and no reference point to the actual show at all.
That's it. Like, I'm sure there are people watching the stream who could, if we had enough of them, we could just act out an episode for you. Like, we wouldn't need a
That's
script
the
or
version
anything.
I want to see. I want to see that version.
If we get enough donations, we will do.
Yeah.
We will act out a full episode of Father Ted.
The
Stream-
Irish
stream it out to the chat.
Interfirms Drama Group.
Yeah.
We're actually thinking
Come
of
to a stream
you know
near
donation incentives. That sounds like a good one to me.
Yeah.
Amazing.
There's a guy I work with actually is doing that as part of his rugby club. They're going to film. There's like this company that does it. They just go around and they do your costumes and your makeup and stuff. And basically, they're gonna record. They're gonna act out and record an episode of not the whole episode, but part of an episode of Father Ted. So yeah. we could totally do that. Okay, I'm just checking in on the headset situation here, lads.
All right.
Okay. Oh, I appreciate EA. I've now joined the EA.
So they're now I've asked what's the story with the headset, and they're telling me your call is important to us. please stay on the line, and Asian will be with you as soon as possible. Thank you, Potentia. Okay, we're in Banning, and
There we go.
You may have to radio this again, guys, because I'll try over here once more to get this in.
Fiddle around with OBS. See if that Ari ban immediately.
Wow.
By EA.
I mean, Ari had some very nice picks.
Yeah, obviously wary of what Kenjin was doing. He was quite a nuisance for EA, especially getting to, if he could get to that 80 carry, would pretty much kind of cut the legs out from under EA in that game. I wonder if we're going to see a Caitlyn ban this time. We saw them take away the Twitch last game, but Penguin King shows that he's a couple more tricks up his sleeve. Also, the Nunu potentially is something we might want to look at getting rid of.
Towards Penguin. Remove that. You put yourselves in a much better situation. Tainava doesn't have to worry about getting poked out of lane and becoming way too far behind. I think nearly at one stage he was 50 CS behind in that lane, so just get him in a decent spot. There's no reason that you can't do it. I don't think there's any other champions in particular that stand out to me that you want to get rid of, but then again, these guys have probably done a lot of homework on each other.
Yeah, we do see it's a Galio ban actually coming in at the end.
I've done it.
Oh, I can see it.
I'm a genius. A
Have
genius.
visuals.
Arse biscuits for the client. Come on. Oh my god. Very professional over here at the Irish Interfirms Gaming League, everyone.
As usual.
Hey, look, we have a certain character, you know, we have a certain charm. And if we don't stick to it, you know, what would our fans would leave us.
That's very true.
Yeah, so stop giving us the arse biscuits.
We would
exactly. Which we so desperately desire.
desperately need more arse biscuits, please.
See,
But,
there's people that are outside my room right now, and I feel like if I just go on about how much I really want arse biscuits, they're just going to be like, "What in the name of God?"
They will tell the truth. They'll just be like, "Oh, Rob's at it again."
Yeah, Rob, you
with his arse
definitely said
biscuits.
other weird things like that. I'm just playing in general, so I wouldn't be too worried. I think you're too far gone at this stage. But looking at a few of the picks coming in here, Urgot was banned away last game, but this time's going to be first pick by EA. So I wonder what Steve actually. Wait a second. Oh, that's interesting.
Yes,
They
they're
can-
going to be sending the Urgot mid.
Yeah, nice little flex there. I wonder what the response is from Ericsson. Once again, they'll know what the case is with both of these solo lanes. Still have to wait in the bot lane. It's going to be Yorick actually going towards that top lane.
So this is actually a champion that people have been kind of sleeping on for a little bit. Yorick is super strong at the moment, like crazy strong at the moment.
I hate Yorick.
Yeah, so do I. But so they gave a buff to him to his to the maiden. So the maiden will now follow your rounds instead of just going off on her own. And nobody realized how strong the maiden was because she was never actually with Yorick. Now that she is, this champion is obnoxious to play against.
He was
And once he gets that Triforce,
before.
it's crazy.
I don't understand how you could buff this guy. My god.
Yeah, it's insane. It's absolutely
Yeah.
insane. He's incredible in that split push role, but he actually is pretty good in the team fights as well because the maiden now heals him for so much. So this is kind of a decent all around champion, and especially when we're looking at Steve Breen, who was the shining light for Ericsson for a certain extent in that last game. I think putting him on a champion where he can now look to have that big impact is exactly what they
Absolutely.
I think one extra wrinkle is how Ericsson last game were able to keep themselves close in goal by splitting 4 towers a lot through the mid game. Yorick will turn those split pushes into 2 or 3 towers if he is left alone for too long. So EA will need to be on their toes, getting to him quite quickly. Last couple of bans coming through. Thresh and Draven taken away by Ericsson. Lissandra and Sivir denied by EA. This will force the misfortune for Nava. So it looks as if Ericsson looking to commit even more to the team fight. That is a Vayne, though, in response for Penguin King.
I'm just excited about the Curse of the Sad Bullet time. That's what I'm excited about here. This is one of my favorite combos to watch, which is a Mumu and the Misfortune, because you throw down both those ultimates and everyone is deleted. And especially, I mean, it is a Vayne, but that's also a very short range AD carry who's got to get right up into the mix if she wants to have any sort of impact. And when you've got a Mumu who's been, like, Gortha has been landing a good few of those bandage toss, if he throws one of them onto Penguin King, that could be lights out for that AD carry.
They also have Veigar as well, so if this Vayne is proving to be problematic, press Orb.
Yeah.
You know, the Wombo combo not connecting, press Orb. That's Veigar's modus operandi. Kenjen, less able to go for these flashy, aggressive plays, but that Veigar damage can hit like a truck in the later stages of the game, and really actually gives them an avenue if Penguin King is popping off again, just to deal with that problem quite a bit easier. A nice last pick, I think, just to potentially counter the big threat on the side of that EA comp.
Yeah, I think the Event Horizon as well is going to work wonders against pretty much everything that EA have there. All of them want to be following up on the engage coming through from the Ornn. So having that Event Horizon, which is just like a big do not pass this area, unless you got your security badge, which it like it's not going to happen. So I think having that little bit of extra security there for Misfortune in the back line, for the Morgana as well, who can pretty much just hide behind it, will make things a lot easier for Ericsson in these fights. Because I think that's where they were kind of falling apart, was they were getting really good engages, but they couldn't really keep their backline safe. So this time around, they should definitely have the opportunity to do that with a lot of this big AoE.
What is the Event Horizon security badge?
Flash.
Oh, okay. Or QSS, I guess. They have a few.
Yeah.
They have a few ways you can get through.
Well, you got different levels, right?
I suppose, yeah. Flash is like the basic, you know.
Yeah.
Kind of the low level security guard, whereas QSS is VIP. Mikhail's is press pass. That's what that is.
Mikhail's is your guest pass for the day that you got to sign the book for.
Yeah, you won a raffle. You got a Mikhail's from your support, but yeah, I'm actually really liking this coming out of Ericsson just in terms of that team comp. I think it deals really nicely with EA. Also, the lane should be a nice bit easier now that Caitlyn is off the board. EA not looking to go for 2 in a row with that. And I think the Misfortune Morgana is quite nasty if those double ups connect as you want to. So certainly quite a nice adaptation, I think, from Ericsson. I'm still looking to see what Strawberry can do on this Trundle. A few nicely placed ganks, a few nicely placed pillars, and he could set his team up nicely as they transition towards the later stages of the game.
Yeah, not even in ganks. That Trundle Pillar is really helpful as well for trying to stop the ultimate from Misfortune. And because of how long the range is that you can actually plant the pillar down, you can dislodge her, and that'll cancel out the ultimate as well. So there's still like a good answers on the side of EA, but I think it's a lot more difficult for them to get the answers that they want in these team fights because there's just so much CC that's there. And particularly if Strawberry's playing towards the front line. I mean, you've got the Curse the Sad Mummy that'll come down. That's going to CC the front line. Then you've got the Event Horizon. Then you throw in the Yorick there as well. He's got that little mini Event Horizon essentially to try and hold you in place for a little while too. So a lot of this is just going to be lockdown, which should make it a lot more difficult for EA to try and play these team fights. If they can come in through a lot of different avenues, though, they might be in good shape. Or at least if they can catch Ericsson even off guard or unaware, they might be able to turn these back around.
Yeah, EA showed their stuff in the previous games, so certainly have the capability, that was a tough word, to do so, but it's just a case of can they repeat? Will Ericsson be able to execute the differences in the strategy that they're bringing out here in Game 2? And can they tie up this show match at 1 apiece? apiece and get themselves a bit of redemption after what, in fairness, was a very close game one. The two teams evenly matched, so certainly Ericsson, despite being down in the series, definitely not out of it. And I am looking forward quite a bit to this game too.
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually looking at Deathy. I'm really impressed. They've only got 654 points on Nami as in the champion points. And for the performance that they put in, like that was really, really good. So I'm surprised to see so few on the champion. So I just wanted to give a little bit of a shout out for someone who's playing very well who doesn't have a heap of experience on the champion.
We're seeing, once again, judging the mastery of all of these players. It's Tainava actually with the most, about 126,000 on the Misfortune, followed by Penguin King on the Vane. So these 80 carries, a bit more comfortable this game, although Penguin King seemed to be very comfortable in game one, so maybe we could see some really fancy stuff coming out of the Vane in game two as teams are loading here onto the Rift.
Jay, if you will do the honors of hitting O and U for the stream there, so then they can get their scoreboard up looking nice and neatly for them, just so they can try and follow along.
Thing that tracks the time, do we?
No, we don't need the...
No, not at all.
Press U to get rid of that, and then
yeah,
O for the scores.
And we're back to being professionals. Let's go.
I'm actually really
in the office and out.
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised to see Urgot taking the mid lane against Veigar.
Yeah, it was, especially when we saw the Urgot picked up first. I know it was kind of to get it away from Steve Brain. The guy plays a huge amount of it. But I was surprised to see it go towards the mid lane. I thought they'd just throw it up into the top lane and try to be the nuisance there. But obviously, Decent is much more comfortable on this. And it does give them the option to try and punish this Veigar. Especially if Strawberry does come for a few ganks as we saw in the last game. They can try and get this Veigar locked out nice and early. And Urgot's a champion that, even if he CC'd, that Fear Beyond Death will still go through if they can dish out enough damage.
Yeah, Steve Breen, not necessarily target banned, but more target picked away from, with the Ornn and the Urgot being denied. But he's falling back on the Yarick, who, as pointed out in that champ select, can be quite a menace in his own right. Well, I say his own right, it's actually him and his family that are collectively...
so much more sad if that's his family.
Isn't that the thing? It's a case of me versus Yark on my own, it's grand, but then he brings in the wife and kids, and it's just like, Jesus, not prepared for the 6v1. But we'll see what he can do versus this Ornn early lane. I don't imagine that the Yorick is, like, in the first few levels, don't think he's going to be taking too much control, but it's when he gets all those abilities and he starts landing the E, I believe, is the one that sets the ghouls on him.
I actually haven't played a huge amount of York. I think the E is the one that's... Yeah, the E is the one that hits them from afar and then puts the ghouls on them. W is the lockup, and the Q is that big L swing that he puts through on his auto attack.
Yeah. It's that is when things start getting really, really nasty there. The Yorick can do a bit of problems. You see them there.
Yeah. Please look at Exhibit A.
Some call me a prophet. Steve Breen already laying down the hurt with the help of his kids in that top lane. However, Strawberry could be looking to turn that around with a gank here. And quite a bit of damage actually coming through onto this Yorick, and able to really chunk him out. Should have got around to get back in the lane, although taking a terror shot, Strawberry is in a bit of a trickier position, and maybe Fargurta on the Amumu wants to try something of his own. Steve Breen may want to wait for level 3 when he gets his walls, but it could be the Amumu perfectly poised to make a gank happen if he wants to pull the trigger, and it looks as if he's going around now, looking to lock this Ornn up, and now Galaran in a lot of trouble. Fargurta going over, flash is available, using the charge and the flash away. Fargurta not looking to follow it, so ganks traded in the top lane. The only person dropping their flash is that Ornn.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that York is great at, is setting up those ganks, because he does have that barrier that'll stop anyone from moving. But one of the things that we gotta look at for York is there's a couple things to remember when you're playing against him. That the first one, he can heal for quite a lot, a surprising amount, and that's oftentimes where he catches people unaware, is that they expect that they should be able to finish him off, and suddenly he gets this healing coming through from the Maiden, from a lot of other sources. So as long as he can keep that kind of down or not fall into that trap, you should be in good shape. The other big thing to remember, and what we're the key timing we're looking for here is the York, is when he gets that Trinity. That's really when the York starts to take over. So you'll be looking towards, that 12, 13, 14, 15 minute mark when he completes that. And that should be the real heavy hitter when he should start to take over the top lane and look towards not only punishing Getaran, but trying to take down these turrets as well.
Yeah, that's when Yorick really starts to be a nuisance. And I would not be surprised if I saw Strawberry go back there just to try alleviate the pressure for his top laner, keep this Yorick's impact limited. But then you have to worry about the other lanes, which have been very quiet for now. Well, Dason's though doing a good job of getting a CS advantage for himself. This Veigar will scale up, but Urgot can threaten him, especially if he manages to get to that level 6 point earlier. And so far, well, Dason seeming fairly threatening in the 1 versus 1.
Yep, most certainly does. We'll have to see if that is going to continue going forward. Also looking towards this bot lane, I thought we'd see a little bit more push power coming through from Tainava and Pedantia, but they haven't really been able to get very much going at the moment, running through a lot of that mana. But you can see how often Penguin King is hitting those minions. It makes it really difficult for them to try and keep that wave in place, but it does open up for a gank. But Fergorta will be spotted on a ward and can't make much happen.
Yeah, wards everywhere on that bottom side of the map means that the Amumu is spotted well in advance, and the bottom lane for EA is nice and safe. Level 6 now on this Urgot is something I'm looking at, and that is low. Veigar going to go under the tower, just needs to hit the ultimate here, is able to connect with him, reels him back in first blood. Nearly a solo kill. We saw Strawberry hop in for the assist, but it still goes over to that Urgot all the same.
That's the time when I'd expect to have an LEC team though. Just level 6 is hit straight away. Strawberry is there to try and help out, and fantastic team coordination coming through from EA and really showing their stuff in this game too. You can see Steve Breens, they're trying to be an absolute nuisance at the top lane, but Gataran is starting to slowly but surely be able to deal with all these ghouls.
Yeah, it has to take a few seconds to play the ghouls minigame at the back of the lane. One of the less fun minigames you can play in League of Legends here. Now round 2, Steve Breen, Proc and Conquer as well. Has the ultimate available if he wants to bring out the Maiden, and he will indeed, but Gataran already far enough away. Strawberry now looking for a counter gank here. He's not level 6 himself, and this Yarg just looking to turn the damage onto the jungler instead. A lot of damage onto Strawberry there, and yeah, you just cannot deal with this Yarg unless you have those ultimates up, and not really with the opportunity to use either. Fargurta now there to back up his top laner, and these tower plates are there for the taking.
Yeah, you can see though they want to try and get a bit more. They will catch up Gataran.
We see the flash forward as well, looking to lock up this order. Fargurta going to finish it off with the smite, equalizing the score at 1 apiece and turning back to that top lane tower.
Yeah, they should be able to, as you're saying, get a lot of these plates. Actually, might even get about 3 of them gone. Don't forget, as each of those plates falls, starts to get a little bit more difficult to take them down. But a massive creep wave here as well. And Ornn has no teleport available, so he's going to have to walk back to lane. This will actually be a lot of damage on this top lane turret.
That could be plate number 4. That wave was really big and gives them a lot of time. The Trundle as well, sticking to that blue buff. So it's not as if he's there to make things tricky, to try force them off, to deal with the wave. Trades in the bottom lane at the meantime. Actually, Call of the Forge got being used. They're looking to capitalize this into a kill on the Amumu, but not able to get close enough. The pillar does not keep Fargurta in place for too long, and he makes his way cleanly to safety. With no plates left in the top lane tower, they take it down next time they go, and that's exactly what you want from the Yarg. He is going to come back to lane with the Phage completed as well. That Trinity Force in the near future. Yeah,
that's a heap of gold to put onto that York. And we already said it, Steve Breen is a very big threat for this for the EA lineup who want to try and shut down Steve Breen. That Triforce is the key moment that we are waiting for, and we already has the Phage and the Sheen picked up, just waiting for that one last component and a little bit of extra gold, and he'll be in a dominable position. Now moving up, he's going to be able to pick up that wave. I would actually be surprised to see Fairgore to try and make his presence known up here again. That the ultimate is available for him. Ornn is also going to have to overextend to try and pick up these minions, so could see them try and just snowball this lead out of control.
Yeah, Fargurta could look to stick around that top side, but there is the Infernal Drake to worry about. Also, this mid lane, you'll still need to keep an eye on. The Urgot now at level 8 with close to a 20 CS lead is a threat, to say the least, that you have to worry about if you want control of this mid-game. Fargurta able to hit level 6 quite a bit sooner than he was in the last game, so the Amumu coming online a bit earlier in terms of those big plays, and you called it, looking to stick towards that top side and capitalize on the advantage that this Yorick has gained for himself.
Yeah, wait for the bandage toss. There's the lock up. Here we go, Whimsy.
Yeah, just needs to go in with the Q, and they are going to keep this Ornn locked down forever. Has the flash though. Fargurta so close to taking that last tower shot that would have seen him go down, but the kill does not come through for Gadaran on the Ornn. However, once again, backing up his top laner, pushing this wave to the tower. If he brings out the ghouls, this should be first tower of the game going over at about 10 minutes, but not sure you can take it.
Well, he's trying. There goes the Maiden.
Yeah, the Maiden should be able to do the tanking that they need here. Has Demolish as well, with the Sheen coming up. We saw the Infernal Drake go over to EA, traded, in effect, for that top tower. First tower of the game, going over to the Yorick.
Yeah, now I want to see how do Ericsson try and approach this. They've got their advantage through the top lane. Do they want to try and just keep pushing in that top lane, or do they want to start rotating these guys around? I feel like if you end up putting Yorick down in the bottom lane, you're not really going to be able to push that pressure too much, so it's going to be a bit of a difficult one. Actually, hang on, Penguin King going aggressive.
Looking for the aggression on the Vayne here. Bullet time, though, using the wrong direction, cancelled by, was it cancelled in the end? That was Pedantia actually being locked up by the Condemn. Weird sequence of plays, but Strawberry could be looking to capitalize on it as he goes through the tower, but a little bit isolated. Hit by the binding on the back, and maybe Tainava thinking he'll get a bit of damage back, but Deathy is there to escort his jungler to safety. Strange trade in the bottom lane, and we did see both ultimates being used, but no kills coming of it. However, a lot of summoners being used.
Yeah, you can see Tainava was trying to guess where Penguin King was going to roll to, assumed that they would move back towards Deathy, think that the trade was over, and that's why you saw the bullet time come out. But unfortunately, Penguin King saw blood on the streets and wanted to see if he'd be able to mop up the kills for himself. Unfortunately, that was not going to be the case, as Tainava could get away. And Strawberry as well, trying to help out as best he can. They know that the top lane is going to be no place for a friendly member of our EA even to go visit.
Yeah, that is Steve Breen. Steve Breen's domain. And Gadaran might have walked into it uninvited here. Fargurta, once again, providing the lockup while Steve Breen provides the auto attacks as they jump through the Ornn health bar. So low at this stage. Just needs to land the slow, and I'm locked up by the bandage shot. Steve Breen, killing machine. First of the game for him. Well, Jason, though, looking to see if he can turn it around. His jungler is close by as well, but Fargurta and Steve Breen already making a retreat. Not willing to overstay their welcome. You know that Yorick wants to go back to pushing that lane, and with control of that Rift Herald as well, that's something they could go for. Ericsson doing a great job of just taking as much control as possible over this top side of the map.
I mean, they put their stamp entirely on that, and I was a little bit worried when I saw Strawberry pushing that far forward to chase them out of the jungle, because that ultimate had just come up for the Amumu as well, so they could have looked to turn that around. But with the big minion wave that was on the top side, they decided, you know what, I'm happier to just farm this one out and leave the Strawberry picking for another day.
Yeah, it's a bit of a different story here. Kenjen able to get a bit of damage down onto Well Dason. The mid lane has been tough for him in this game, but he's stabilized it a little bit after the early pressure was helping at the Urgot. And you have to imagine that the Veigar are getting quite a few stacks for himself right now. Has 72 extra AP, so that's buffing him up. Will obviously grow quite a bit towards those later stages of the game, but still does not want to get too close to the Urgot. Right now, Well Dason is the one with the advantage in the matchup, and you have to imagine he'll want to try help out his top laner a little bit here, given the pressure that Gadaran is under.
It's so difficult to do that though. The Yorick is very I'm gonna say he's very far ahead at this stage, and he's also got that help with the immune pretty much at all points in time. So it's just a case of maybe see if they can do the same as last game, get the advantages elsewhere on the map. But Strawberry isn't having the same impact that he had on the new, not the same amount of crowd control to set up these ganks as easily, so it makes it a lot more difficult. But Penguin King is doing his damnedest to still try and put pressure down in the bottom lane, see if they can get something back in favor of EA.
Yeah, Vayne is many things, but a Caitlyn she is not. Penguin King and Deathy just not with the ability to bully the lane as they did last time. While they have an advantage on that farm, the push hasn't been there, the pressure hasn't been there, Strawberry hasn't been there to try to turn around the kills. However, there could be a kill in the mid lane, but the bandage toss misses. Maybe was timing the stun there, but Weltace is still in a lot of trouble. The Primordial Burst is enough to finish it off, and they get, well, this Veigar could be on his way to scaling. Penguin King, though, looking for the kill in the bot lane with a nice condemn, but not enough damage coming through from the autos to turn that into a kill. Good pressure coming out, but still no kills on the board for this Veigar.
Yeah, and that's all that really Ericsson need, is not to give anything over into the hands of EA. Ericsson will be able to pick up this mid lane turret now, as you can see. Easy damage for them once they get that pick. Strawberry is over by that red buff, but there's no way he can try and hold on to this turret. Gatoran is trying to answer in the top lane, but that just means it's actually another tower in the mid lane that Ericsson want to try and pick up for themselves.
That Yorick will tear apart those towers if he is uncontested, and Strawberry does not want to get too close. The Maiden is there as well to help them out.
It's a serious piece of shovel. Where do you reckon he got the EQ job, you reckon?
Definitely at Woody's. That's where you want to be going.
Shit right there.
I mean, if you're at the beat down an Urgot with it, it's got to be made as something special.
I think Steve actually making a statement right now. Like, EA took his Orm, they took his Orgot, but he has another sleeve in another ace in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
you take my Orn, you take my Urgot, I take your towers.
Exactly. Exactly.
Is what Steve Breeze looking to do here, teleporting straight back to that top lane as well. So
use this shovel. Not a gun or
yeah,
any
no
other
gun,
sort
no
of
hammer,
magical-
just to
no, this shovel that I got.
a good
from
old.
That's the
Woody's.
thing. I get that when it comes to Jax. I don't know if you know Jax's lore.
Yeah.
He was literally too good with the weapons. Like, here's a lamp up. What happened to Yorick that he's like, do you know what? I'm not allowed to use anything. I've got a shovel.
That actually makes sense, you know? He's basically digging up all the towers.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
actually offered him a weapon and he was like, no, I got a shovel.
No, how else am I supposed to get to these foundations, eh?
Yeah, that's the Yark's secret lore. He's actually a builder. But yeah, I mean, certainly building quite a nice lead for himself in that top side with the towers he's been able to push down. Wonder if they're just going to keep him up there now. You know, he doesn't have to teleport up, but I certainly will draw a lot of pressure at least.
Penguin King as well, putting a lot of pressure on this bottom lane turret. Hasn't really been able to put too much damage down, because of course, as that Vayne, it makes it a little bit more difficult, but seeing Call of Forge got in the top lane.
Looking to deal with the man with the shovel here, but Steve Breen going to see what damage he can do in response, but that lockup is there, and the Fear Beyond Death comes through. Well, Dex with the second kill of the game, however, Penguin King looking to go down in the bot lane, not able to get away in time, and Tainava, that's got to be sweet revenge for what happened last game, getting a kill in that bottom lane just before Trundle showed up.
And you can see they are trying desperately to put whatever they can into the bot lane, but EA go that little bit too far forward, and it ends up being Tainava and Pedantia who come out on top of that skirmish. Now pretty much every lane is over in favour of the Ericsson lineup, and I mean especially in that top lane, looking 1,600 gold in favour of that Yorick. You're looking at another about 1,000 gold as well in favour of the Amumu or Trundle. So these are where the big advantages are being picked up for the Ericsson lineup.
I think, to be fair, as much as we're bigging up this Yorick, all it took was, well, Dason, a quick trip to that top lane, and they were able to deal with him. So if this Urgot can keep his pressure going, they seemingly have an answer for what Steve Breen is bringing to the table right now. That's the ultimate from Kenjen, just flexing on Penguin King here. And Nightdown as well, looking for quite a bit of damage, and just needs to connect with one more ability. They can probably finish off that kill, forcing Penguin King away in any case. And Steve Breed waiting in the bush, he brings out the family. Well, Dason was not ready for this birthday party, but Steve Breed actually might be the one who's outnumbered here, as well, Dason brings his teammates along, pulled in by the Fear Beyond Death, third kill of the game for this Urgot, and EA with a great response to the Steve Breen Bush surprise, able to keep this tower up for now.
Yeah, 5 members of EA are down here, and Ericsson look like they want to actually go in.
Fargursa looking for the ultimate, but the team not really with them, and it was only the 2 tanks that he connected with, so Ericsson not willing to overcommit to that fight, especially while they are down their top laner, and that's a nice pickup for EA. Things weren't going so great for them, but finding a good answer to the attempt at a play from Ericsson.
Yeah, they will. That was just because you can't push in too far as Ericsson in mid lane. It's great when you're able to pick up those 2 towers, but you never really get an advantage there because you can't continue to put the pressure down in that mid lane. You find yourself overextended on, and on the business end of one of these Trundle, I was going to say an axe, but it's more like a giant rock that man is holding. So you now got to try and play a little bit more defensive on the side of Ericsson until you can get these last outer turrets down. That's why we're seeing so many people in this bottom lane. If they can get this tower down, suddenly the map opens up a lot more for the side of Ericsson.
Did you say a Trundle axe?
I was going to say he has an axe, but it's literally a giant club.
It's a club, yeah.
Yeah.
Wrong, Rob, mixing up the champions.
Yeah. Look, the shovels, there's lampposts, I mean, and you've got a problem with
Oh, well, Jason, I was waiting in the bush the whole time here, and they should have this kill on the Morgana, just need a little bit more AoE to land up. Misfortune tried to body block for his support, and will go down, so that's 2 members falling on the side of Ericsson. Once again, another nice play from EA. This time, they're the ones to camp the rush. They make it work.
Well, we're still going, Whimsy. I don't know why you're stopping.
Oh, yeah, I didn't expect that. I thought they were backing off. Well, Jason, though, has to back off away from the Yorick squad, chasing him down, does manage to create enough distance and keep himself alive. Steve Breen nearly able to turn things around into a kill onto this Urgot, looking for that shutdown gold, but well, Decent will live to fight another day.
Yeah, I'm glad that both teams have decided to turn this into an ARAM where it's just everyone in the bottom lane. Let's just keep going. Eventually one of these turrets will fall and one of us will crown the victor. We have to see if it is going to be Fergorta who's trying to push himself forward, see if he can get the big ultimate down. Doesn't have the backup of the support or the AD carry though, so this is going to be a little bit risky for Ericsson to try and commit.
Yeah, still have to be wary of the damage coming through from things like the Vayne, who has that static shift, still not fully kitted out with the Infinity Edge yet, but those Silver Bolts procs and deal with your diving tanks quite effectively. However, still happy to push as 5, biding their time and playing this as patiently as they need to. The ghouls causing problems for Penguin King under tower. They have the Event Horizon as well. That could be big. They follow up with the engage of this Amumu. That is all the CC that you need. Gataran is taken out by the Primordial Burst, but Steve Breen could be taken in response as he is slowed down under tower. Tenava comes into the fight with the bullet time and not able to pick up a kill with it, and Ericsson have to back off after the 1 kill. Not enough sustained damage to turn it into anything else.
Okay, so Ornn now gets to go back and buy, so we'll have to see how much gold he actually went with. And now he can just make his way back down here because no other lane matters in this game. Everyone is just congregating down here every single time. They really want these bottom lane turrets, and I was waiting to see eventually what way the minions would end up falling. Oh my!
Oh, actually, Kenjan flashing forward, trying to see if he could finish off that pace, but not with enough damage to finish off the kill there. Now looking for Well Decent on the back. That Event Horizon does not manage to get the stun. And once again, the carries on the side of EA scuttling away with barely any help left in the tank, avoiding death for the moment.
I think we may have finally cracked it though, Whimsy. There's no teleports for anyone on the side of EA to get back down to this bottom lane. The wave is now in position for them to push forward, although as I say that, Vayne and Trundle are again making their way towards the bottom lane. It's just a case of if they can get there in time before the minions actually hit, but no, it's going to be Ericsson backing away, so again that bottom lane turret will still stand. The question though is whether the top one will. Yorick now pushing in towards that, and as well in the mid lane we've got more action.
Fargert's jumping on in with the bandage toss. Gataran does not want anything to do with the Amumu Misfortune combo. Meanwhile, Steve Breen may have met his match in that Urgot, so not willing to push too hard for that top lane terror. Well, Jason is 4-1 and 1, has 2 items completed, so is certainly able to deal with this Yorick if it does come down to a fight, and Steve Breen may have to reconsider that plan. He has the teleport advantage, so can try maybe maneuver them around the map a little bit, depending on if Ericsson wants to play this objective.
Yeah, I think we got to take a look now that we got a little bit of a second of a breather before this strike gets fought over, is the items that have come through. As you were saying, 4 kills on that Urgot. The Black Cleaver actually went for the Maul Marmortis, which will delay the Righteous Glory, which means he doesn't have as big of an engage tool for his team. We'll still be relying on that Ornn ultimate a huge amount, and we will be looking at that now for Gadaran, as he would more than likely be throwing down this Call of the Forge God as they try to fight this Drake. But no, turns out they're just going to try and give this one over instead, not wanting to fight that. I think that's the smart call as well when you're looking across the other side. The Ornn Mail is completed for Fair Gorta, so the likes of Penguin King will be taking a lot of damage trying to take down this Amumu. You've got the Luden's Echo and the Void Staff completed for Kenjen as well. He's been stacking up incredibly well. Actually, have a quick look. What's the stacks at?
175. And all of those being used to pop the Nami. Gertz, though. Yeah, he could be in some trouble here. Looking for the engage, finally gets the Curse of the Snap Bullet Time combo off, but they take out the Amumu as soon as the combo is initiated. Gadaran now in the sights of Steve Green, but has enough time to turn the Forge God around, and they kill the Arc before he can get one more swing with the shovel onto that Ornn. It's a double kill for the Urgot here. Now Penguin King looking to take over the fight, forcing Tainava back with the flash, and EA really now beginning to step into these team fights, taking a 2 in the mid lane, looking to turn it into the tower push.
And they're just always outnumbering Ericsson in all of these fights. They collapse as a team all into the mid lane, whereas Veigar was still pushing that bottom lane. Also won't be able to push on towards that tier 2 because he's still got to worry about the rest of the EA who have now backed. Ornn will be making his way down towards that bot lane just to try and keep that tower up and functional for a little bit longer.
Although Kenji thinks he can make the play here. He's not Ari, but he still wants to run on in and get the solo kill for himself. That Ornn is gone almost as quickly as he arrived. Will allow Kenjen to get that inner tower, proving you wrong, Rob, and able to effectively equalize the split push if you ignore the kills that went down in the mid lane. So Kenjen sticking with it in the bottom lane and gets something out of it at least.
Sorry, I think I have 100 Thieves bang on the phone saying he wants to call a pause because there's a bug where he can't see Ornn on his screen anymore. Got deleted. That was incredible. I actually thought he was going to be fine, but then I realized the only sort of magic resist that he has at the moment is those Merc threads, and they're not going to be doing particularly much against that much burst damage. You can see now working up towards that Rabadons as well. This Veigar is in great shape to start taking over this game, and particularly if he can get a Baron buff as well to boot.
I don't think that... Yeah, but I don't think EA have seen it.
Yeah, they have.
Have they? Oh, there comes in the Scry, and they will be able to see this now. Vayne is the closest member, but I'm not sure that Penguin King can do it all on his own with a Veigar zoning him off. Yark bringing out the family to try help this Call of the Forge God will be coming on through. Baron already secured, but do EA want the fight after? Fargard are going to jump on in and bye-bye, or Galaran going down straight away. Penguin King has to kite out to the back. Maybe this Vayne could do something to turn the fight around. However, Strawberry already going down. Well, based on the trump card for EA, needs to do the damage, but he is just focused up and torn down. Penguin King though, dashing on into the Vayne, stunned up by the Veigar though. This could be dead Vayne, but not connecting with the Dark Matter. However, Ericsson get what they came for, walking away with that Baron buff on 4 members of their team.
Yeah, fantastic call from Ericsson there, realising that EA had no vision and a lot of them had backed towards that base as well, so they had the time to do it. Managed to pick up the Baron, get 2 kills from themselves and only lose 1 in that massive fight around the pit. Absolutely brilliant play, and now we've got to see just how strong that this York is going to be. You can see him as well. But I know what that tassel means in his inventory. We're seeing as a raw portal very soon, Wim.
That is the optimal way to play your God. You got to commit to the push, and thankfully Steve Breen is looking to commit with a Baron buff as well. Could make things extra tricky, although he doesn't have this rock portal completed yet. If he did, that would be a completely different story, but he'd just be able to even stand back and act as you normally do as a top laner with Baron buff. Let the minions do most of the work. You kind of just supply them with the buff. We'll see what the distribution is here for them right now with the push in the mid lane. Still need to wait for those side lanes to catch up.
Yeah, and this is the thing, the best part for an Ericsson, or for Ericsson if you're an Ericsson fan, is that it's only Tainava who doesn't have the buff right now. Tainava is always going to be with someone who... Oh, hang on a second.
Pedancia walking right into a big scary Urgot. Call of the Forge God being brought out as well, looking for the members without the black shield, but the rest of EA just not able to catch up on the engage, and that is a big ultimate gone down as well. Gadaran will be waiting a while for that call of the Forge God.
Yeah, that's going to be a big engage tool down. We were already saying that they needed to rely on him as their engage tool. They do have Deathy though still. That tidal wave can pretty much act as a secondary call of the Forge God if need be. Might be called into action fairly soon, as we can now see Ericsson have finally grouped as 5 and they've set their sights on this mid lane inhibitor turret.
I wonder, do they want to send anyone to that bottom lane? The wave is pretty close to the tower, so they could split the Baron up between two. Oh my, yeah, Veigar. I forgot about that. Alright, that is a dead Nami. Once again, second time in the game. And yeah, that's one person they don't have to deal with in the push. Now looking for Gadaran, who he's supposed to be attacked, but he goes down to bed as quickly with the Primordial Burst to finish that one off. Kenjen's Veigar is now wreaking havoc, finally at that point in the game where he just needs one combo to completely delete you, and this will set up the inhib tower take for Ericsson.
Yeah, this is going to be an easy take for them. Inhib is going to fall as well. Now you can see the pings are going down onto the side lanes, but I mean, they look like they might want to keep pushing forward. Ghouls are surrounding well. Dason's team needs to try and back away, and look how much damage that the Veigar is doing to those towers at the moment. They can easily get through this Nexus.
Strawberry though looking to see if he can do anything with an engage here. Event Horizon Bullet Time says no. Penguin King though could be key, jumping into the fight at the base, looking for Fargurta on the back and gets the kill with the Silver Bolt Sprawl. Now needs to find the Misfortune, able to get the stun, but Veigar just flashing forward. Nice dodge from Penguin King though, buying him a little bit of time, able to get the double kill. The Ornn ultimate will not catch the Veigar at the back of the fight. This Vayne proving to be tricky, using the flash and the ultimate, but does stop the push of Ericsson for now.
Yeah, we'll stop them for the moment. They bit off a little bit more than they could chew there, but my word, this Veigar is doing work. 257 stacks of this phenomenal Evo power on this Veigar. This little dude is packing a punch right now.
I'm looking forward to seeing the damage graph after this game. That's for sure. You have to have to imagine that the Veigar is going to be pretty high up in terms of those numbers. Now looking to see if they can get their second Cloud Drake of the game potentially, but they only have a couple of members who will be waiting on their jungler for quite some time. Could just be looking to contest them and maybe grab another pick for himself, already with 7 kills this game. A huge threat for EA to have to consider, even with the numbers advantage. Have to be wary of the burst damage coming out here. Going to use it to get Scuttle Crab for himself, so that's a nice little takeaway. And actually maybe looking for the collapse, a bit of an overstay potentially from the EA bottom lane. And now Fargurta will be looking for the flank if he can land the bandage toss. Nami going to be the person in his sights, but a nicely timed flash from Deathy will get him to safety.
Yeah, if he didn't flash out of that one, it definitely would have been Deathy for that Nami. So now they've got to look and see how are they going to try and approach this, because they've got super minions barreling down that mid lane towards that one remaining Nexus turret. They have to go back and try and protect this, which means Cloud Drake will go over in favour of Ericsson. And with Baron spawning in 45 seconds, this is going to be incredibly tough for EA to try and bring this back in. They're going to need a miracle team fight to try and shut down Ericsson.
If they want to contest this Baron, they are going to have to walk through the Rainbow Pentagon that Kenjen lays down with the Leprechaun Veigar skin, and that is some of the toughest terrain to have to traverse through in order to contest, with all of the Veigar damage waiting for them, as well as things like the Curse of the Sad Mummy, the Bullet Time. The Yorick will be laying down the damage now. He's at 2 items, so still waiting on that Zeroth portal, but a threat if he's given enough time with those Sheen procs. All in all, EA have a tough task ahead of them if they want to contest for these neutral objectives at this stage in the game, and have to keep an eye on those super minions in the mid lane as well. Pressure really beginning to mount on all fronts from Ericsson.
How disappointed would you be as EA that you get to the end of the rainbow and all you find is a primordial burst at your face and you die? That is going to be the most disappointing pot of gold I've ever experienced, but we may have to see if that's going to be what happens at this rainbow.
Yeah, Pot of Gold might be a different one set inside for Well Jason here. The Veigar on the backline looking for Penguin King, but he's not able to get it, and he's shut down. Kenjen, the first casualty of this fight. Meanwhile, the tanks for EA are doing work on the backline. Tainava gets a kill onto one, but the Fear Beyond Death will bring a huge fear into this fight and take down the Amumu. Yark goes down as well. Strawberry looking to clean up Tainava at the back, and he does get it. And almost out of nothing, EA find the fight. Penguin King taking out the Veigar nearly on his own and completely winning that against the run of play.
That was a great play from EA. Managed to separate Kenjen from his team and take complete advantage of that. Take out the Veigar before he can even make work in this team fight. Then they can go and work on the rest of Ericsson as well. Strawberry, no!
Strawberry, no! I don't think they could do this. Penguin King has to back off. This Vayne will not be able to really sustain through the Baron, even with the Nami heals coming through. Yeah, that was a very...
35 seconds, the Strawberry's still not up. I mean, if you're Ericsson, you just run directly towards the Baron. You might be able to take it. Well, Decent and the rest of EA still have to deal with the super minions in the base. You can see the pings are going down onto Baron. With that call, Strawberry might have just handed Baron over to Ericsson.
Have to be wary, though. You do see them clearing out the minions now, and certainly these three members of EA can get over in time. We just saw them take a fight, and this Vayne, after the base, has Mercurial Scimitar as well. We'll be getting the flashback up in just a few seconds. I'm not sure if it's going to be up in time for a fight. Just want to check the timer on it real quick. Flashback up in just under 30 seconds, so Penguin King will have that tool available to him if he can live that long. Certainly now a threat at 4-1 and 5. And this is something that Ericsson have to reconsider potentially when it comes to the strategy. Inhibitor spawn in the mid lane as well. Maybe some light on the horizon. Fargo goes over the wall though with the stun. Curse of the Staff Bullet Time comes on in and cleans out the Trundle to start the fight. Galaran going to be locked up at the front as well. Able to get away with the Searing Charge. But a nice pick coming through for Ericsson will allow them to get back to pushing these lanes. Maybe they want to turn this back around onto the big purple worm.
Yeah, it looks like Baron is on the cards. They are going to make their way towards it. Still a lot of members up. You can still look to fight here if multiple members of Ericsson manage to get themselves caught out. Looks like EA are making the call. They want to fight. They want to make sure Ericsson don't have the opportunity to close this game out.
Kenjen standing right at the front looking for the event horizon. Well, they're not cut out by the stun, but they're going to commit to the fight instead. And now if they just get a few of these Veigar abilities down, they will be able to pop Well Jason here. Finds Deathy off the side once again. Veigar now approaching 1000 AP. 988 right now, and now he's looking to finish off those last few stacks coming through. Baron will be finished off by Ericsson as they take their second of the game, and it looks to be all turning up trumps here. Clean take for them. All 5 members now with that Baron buff. They can once again break into the EA base.
And they just picked up their second Baron. You got an Elder Drake coming onto the cards very soon as well, so this could be all of those big buffs going over to Ericsson.
What AP is Veigar sitting at right now?
1109.
There you go, Red.
That is a lot of damage. Yeah, that's from his passive, it's just under 300. Obviously, he has the Rabadon's Death Cap as well, which helps you out in terms of amplifying that. So, also, I mean, I like the fact that he's gone for the Banshee's Veil now, just a little bit of added protection. He doesn't need to add too much more to his damage, so well, I mean, I say that right, but if he's going for the Banshees and the Zanya, so he's making sure that he's as difficult to take out for as long as possible, will able to get through multiple rotations of these spells as Ericsson start up the Elder Dragon, and I don't think there's any contest coming out for this. Kenjen zoning EA away in that mid lane as the big objective will go over to his team now with both Baron buff and Elder Dragon buff to help their push.
Yeah, mid lane is going to be the name of the game this time around. Ericsson making their way, stampeding towards the base of EA, trying to see if they can even up this series. EA stand at the front of their inhibitor. I think they're going to have to give this one up though. There's just too many people and too many minions that are there as well. Buffs galore have Ericsson now rushing through the base of EA.
They can go straight to this. There's only one Nexus Tower left after the minions got the first one earlier in the game, so they can just turn their attention towards this. Quite a big minion wave. Yorick bringing out the grandkids as well with the Zeroth portal, and They should have all the damage that they need if they could just sit back and protect this cannon minion. Even a stun comes through and Gadaran will go down. That is the risk of stepping too far forward. Tidal Wave comes out, but a little bit too late. Well, they're trying to make the big play. Is there anything left in the tank for EA? He is just rooted up at the front and cut down. Shutdown comes through for Nava. They get one back onto the movement, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. They find the Bane as well. That was a big threat dealt with by Nava, who's now running them down, getting to do a bit of damage at the end of the game as this misfortune. And Ericsson will get the win and even things up with the second game of the series. GG.
Fantastic game coming out from Ericsson as well. I mean, there's not very much you can do when, I mean, your tank on the team, Gadaran, is there, and every time Veigar just walks up, says, Gadaran, no, H2O, as he just deletes them from the game. It's absolutely insane how much damage Kenjen was doing. I actually want to have a look here at the graph. Yeah, 43,000 damage in this game. The next closest was going to be the Yorick with 27,000 as well. Absolutely nuts from Kenjen.
Yeah, certainly. It was a tough time for him. We saw him was at solo killed, and well, Dason was doing quite a nice job in the lane, but Veigar is Veigar, and as soon as he was able to get a few of those picks together, get a few items in the inventory, he was just pumping out the damage, and it was so tricky for them to deal with. Penguin King had a few nice fights, but just was not enough in the end. Kenjin very nicely working around his champion's power, troughs, and spikes to help his team out, and the rest of Ericsson coming together as well to get themselves a second game. And after losing the first one, good to see them fight back and get one on the board for themselves as well.
And Jay, I think you said it. We got to have a to be continued now.
This is it. I mean, we've no choice now. We have to play another match, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And totally random, totally not planned. I'm serious. I'm serious. It wasn't planned.
Don't leak the script. Don't leak the script.
No, I have to say fair play to the Ericsson guys taking the second game. I'm very proud. Of course, I'm a bit biased being Ericsson myself.
Oh.
But,
I actually think Ericsson made a really nice decision by banning Nuno.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The difference, I think, in terms like Strawberry had a fantastic game one, just struggled to have the same impact game two. He you could see what he was trying to do on the Trundle, but just not with as much impact on those early ganks.
Yeah, because Trundle doesn't have that. And I think his playstyle is very aggressive. He likes to come to the lane, gank, help the bot lane especially. But it didn't happen this time.
and once Kenjin had stacked the AP, it was a case of I'll delete that one, and then I'll delete that one.
Yeah. It didn't matter. Tank or squishy. It was just a case of if I have ultimate, you're dead. That's
And we don't need to forget about Steve. His performance on Yorick was
a lot of early pressure coming out of him. Actually, like slowed things down because things were looking tricky in the bottom side of the map for Ericsson, but he was able to pull the Urgot towards him while well Dason was a big threat, so mitigating that a little bit and allowing the big late game pieces for his team to get that time to come online, taking pressure off Kenjin so he could get to that point. While the Arc didn't have as much of an individual impact as we maybe would have expected, it still certainly was a big part of what allowed Ericsson to do so well in that game.
Okay, so I think that's it for tonight. I want to say thanks to everybody, obviously, who was tuned in, especially obviously the donators. Again, all that money going to Enable Ireland. So thanks very much, everybody who donated tonight, anyone who followed, anybody who clicked any of those buttons and subscribes. Man of the match, we got a man or woman of a person of the match that you think is for tonight?
That's a tough one.
For the second game?
I think it's got to be Steve Breen. I mean, in both those games, he was looking so strong.
Yeah, no objections here.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Breen, split push machine.
Steve Breen, the split push machine. I saw Tom type earlier. What was it? Steve Breener made of dreams. What?
Oh yeah, Steve.
We might disagree.
Sweet Steves are made of brie.
Yes, sweet Steves are made of brie. Oh, thanks a million to Whimsy and Gosu, some of the finest cast and talent in Ireland. Les, you were majestic. Thanks, I can't thank you enough. Seriously.
No worries, glad to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And we'll hopefully get you back for the tiebreaker. If you're,
You can't leave it at that.
if you're,
I need more Steve Breen.
More, everybody needs more Breen in their diet. So we'll suss out when is good for everybody for that game, and that'll be announced. I don't think there's anything else I need to say. Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Ronan, in the chat there, on behalf of the Ericsson team, TY for watching. Fair play, Ronan. Nice one. GG. Okay. I'm hitting end. Thanks, everyone.